Lil Chad and Slender Dad doing their thing. Friday night stream where the fandom sings. Pop culture chat, movies and games. Live on YouTube making waves. Brahma bull with bourbon in his hand. Always brings the laughs, he's got it planned. That shit's most cool like no other dude. And YouTuber with an attitude. Ascended art, get ready to start. With all the laughter and thoughts so smart. Grab your snacks, sit back and see the best damn stream on your TV. Brahma bull sipping bourbon, he's swirling, he's wise. Lil Chad tips are solid, he's a YouTuber rise. Matt Chivo drops facts like it's hot, he's on fire. While Slender Dad's swordplay skills never tire. Brahma bull joins with bourbon in hand. Matt Chivo's wisdom across the land. YouTuber always in demand. Together like a well-tuned band. Lil Chad's got trivia, he's the movie king. Slender Dad swords make the chat swing. Slice of action with a humorous ring. Poppin' buzz, it's a vibing thing. Ascended art, get ready to start. With all the laughter and thoughts so smart. Grab your snacks, sit back and see the best damn stream on your TV.
Well, hello everybody. Hopefully you enjoyed our new OP. That's an anime term for opening.
I did.
I really love that.
Enjoyed it? I didn't think you'd like that one.
I love the verse about Imp.
Yeah, I know.
I love the verse that keeps calling back to a what the flick inside joke with Slender and the mall swords. It's
Yeah.
I do have different versions, and you're in one of them, Imp.
Oh.
Just not the final AA intro.
Yeah.
Well, there's going to be variations. I have a lot of different lyrics that I've written up.
And here I was being a nice guy when I wanted to make a comment the other night and didn't. I told it to Slender last night and Smokey, and they both laughed. I probably
Pride
should
of,
have said it.
Pride of Slender says it's awesome. Soul Assassin
taste.
says he's giving it a 9.5 out of 10, which is pretty high praise.
I mean, it's not a 10 out of 10, but I'll take it.
Oh, not a fan of the intro lyrics, but maybe it'll grow on you. Yeah.
What?
It'll
Did you
be
not
like,
hear about Brahma and how he always has a drink in his hand?
Yeah, he likes bourbon.
Yeah, in
I mean-
protest, I'm having no bourbons tonight. Ha.
How dare you? Melodious? Yep, I thought the same thing, if that's positive.
Melodious? Yes.
It says that you're callow. I thought that was the only part of the
Callow
letter
and
that was
weak-willed.
thought that was the only part that was complimentary. Oh, Brahma gets the joke.
Yeah,
Mad.
Mallrats.
Exactly. That
Yeah, I've
movie's
seen it.
underrated. It's
That
That
Oh,
movie
always
is
good.
great.
You know that apparently Gen Y or whatever the next kid generation is going back to malls now. They like going to malls.
There's nothing
Really?
in them.
They
Well,
like to
there's
go
old
in
people
packs.
walking around.
Yeah, you can watch the old people do slow walking laps.
I mean, me and a buddy stopped in one of the local malls because we had to run into Target for something, and we're like, "Fuck it, we'll do a lap around the mall just to see what's what." And wow, I've never seen so many boarded up stores. You'd think Antifa's coming to town.
And yet you can buy all kinds of rugs.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Do they
yeah.
not have
A lot
the-
of people go to malls to walk. It's the new generation of Mallrats. It's apparently a thing that where they like to go in, much like the '80s, go in groups and just hang out and look for very specific items and purchase. I mean, that's good. Malls are a lot of dead, useless space right now in the retail commercial market that we need to find a use for.
a friend of mine had a great idea years ago. Just tear them down and use the parking lots as racetracks.
I mean, off
Or
the top of my head,
don't
I
tear
think I
them
could.
down.
So Imp's idea is to make every suburban community look like Back to the Future 2, where Biff
Yeah, I
Tannen
don't-
had ruined
I don't want
Hill
racetracks,
Valley.
but don't tear them down and just let them be skate parks.
Oh man, you know what I want? I want to go to Pretzel Time or Aunties,
Auntie Anne's?
Auntie Anne's.
Auntie.
Oh, Eric Myers with the Inception. My mall has a racetrack inside.
My mother's sister isn't an insect. I don't know what movie that's from.
I actually kind of like Davina's idea there.
Turn them into gladiatorial death traps. So I don't know if you guys live in the same kind of.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah, shopping mall.
that's-
Yeah.
Do you guys you probably don't, I know Mad and him probably don't care. Slender and Brahma may, when you start hearing the like local county boards talk about like expansion of the school system, having to take out $100 million bonds to build high schools and all these other things they need to do. And I was like, we have all this useless retail space that is dead. Why don't we repurpose it to like micro schools so we don't have to spend all this money in construction? And I mentioned to my wife, and she's like, that's not a bad idea. I was like, I know. What we should do that.
Can I just say I'm a little offended that you don't think I attend local city board meetings?
I feel like the childless dink couples don't pay attention to like bonds for
To the public
future school
schools.
construction.
Well,
No, I
where,
go.
where I'm at, if they tried to convert them all, that would just mean the gangs wouldn't have any place to hang out anymore.
They'll just
And
take
that's
over
a
the
bad
apartment
thing.
buildings.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
So,
a good reason to keep
I was
the
going to
malls
say,
open.
if they convert the mall, do it while the gangs are in there. Perfect.
At least we know where they all are right now.
Yeah, I guess.
This actually sounds pretty kick-ass. The local department store became an electric go-kart track. That would be pretty awesome.
Nice.
Instead of Maze Runner, you have the Mall Runner. No more of this walking.
Man, I worked at a mall when I was going to school in Tulsa. And it
Mhm.
was the greatest job you could have at 18, 19 years old. To work at EB Games at that point. It was EB Games. I mean, I could have not asked for a better job than in the mall. At that age, it was great.
Yeah, at that age, especially at that time, because
Yep.
that's where all the girls were.
Yep.
Eric might have the most fun mall around. The other anchor store that closed became a laser tag. That just sounds
Lord.
like a
I mean,
fun
we have
time.
definitely. I bet at least 2 of us have seen Alita Battle Angel on this
Yeah.
panel. Probably 3, maybe more.
I have it on 4K.
I know of
Thank
it.
you very much.
I've only seen the anime, not the live action.
By the way,
I've seen both.
Eric Meyer's town sounds like it's ran by a 15-year-old.
I know.
Oh, the
Lovely
grocery
Sherry
store
joined us in the
closed. Make
chat.
laser tag.
Hey,
Thanks for coming
Sherry.
here, Sherry. I mean, it might be run by 15-year-olds, but it sounds like an awesome place to hang out on the weekend.
I just wouldn't want to live there.
I'm not
Great
gonna
times,
lie.
though.
I loved when I was a teenager. I did love playing some laser tag. That was some good stuff.
Yeah, we had a place called Qzar. I was there often.
All that stuff came after me and my buddy stopped hanging out at the mall. Then again, by the time we stopped hanging out at malls, they started putting curfews in.
Okay, I'm going to comment on this because Eric is right. At a different mall, an anchor department store became a bowling alley, and now bowling is $50 an hour. These fucking upscale bowling alleys that they
Yeah.
like.
$8 an hour?
Yes,
You're
it
out of
is.
your fucking mind.
If you go like on
If you've
prime
got a
time
group
on
of
the
5 or
weekend,
6, you don't
Yeah.
even get one game done.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's what they do is they charge. It's not by person. It's just for the lane,
Right.
and it's an hourly charge for the lane. So like Rama says, if you have like 10 people, that's $5 a game in theory for everyone, but you never get through a whole game in 1 hour with that many people. So if you have less people, it means that the per game cost is going to be like 10, $15, which is ridiculous. Because you got to rent shoes that other people wear, and it's gross. You
Not
got.
if you own your own.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm
Yeah, I
not
have my
fancy.
own shoes.
I've got like 17 bowling balls over there. I used to
Dawn
love
of the
bowling.
Dead was set in a shopping mall. Both of them, yeah. Both versions of Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah, the James Gunn / Zack Snyder one was probably one of Zack Snyder's better movies because he
I think you answered the first part
Was
with
in
the
shopping
the
mall,
James
too, and it
Gunn.
was probably one of the best zombie games you could ever play.
what
Oh,
was
Dead
that?
Rising.
Dead Rising.
Yeah, I didn't like
Uh,
having that time limit though, because I like to take my time with shit. And them
Yeah,
trying
but
to
it's not like you can't replay that game though, because there's so much going on and it's very
Do
open
different
world.
side
So
missions. Yeah.
yeah, it's fun though. Like, and the dumb shit you can do, like, I'm gonna put a Lego head on this fucking zombie and then beat it to death with the lightsaber.
I had to beat the zombie to death with its own shoe.
The shopkeeper and his son were a completely different story altogether. I had to beat them to death with their own shoes.
Oh man. Oh, I'm gonna have to find it.
What Bad Tech Bojin dropping more like just tales of her early life before kids. In the early 90s, a local laser tag facility closed down and reopened as a dance club. I had some of the best times of my early 20s there.
All they did was take down the walls and kept the same lighting as the
That's
laser
true.
tag.
It's like we need to find a business
black
that
lights
can,
and lasers.
I don't know if I'd want a lot of the black lights in like a dance club setting. That could be awkward.
It was a thing back then. Well, my back then and her back then are a little bit different, but yeah, there were a lot of clubs that were black lights.
We did we set them up once when Lost in Space opened at the movie theater, and it just was a silly, terrible idea. Like, the amount of like average regular people who look fine till they walk through like the entryway into a theater that's got black lights and you see stains and you're like, I don't even want to know. I don't want to know. So it's funny. All right, so we've got a couple topics tonight. Not anything like major. We'll have probably just, I'm sure the Dragon Age one is going to be a lot of the conversation because that's been pretty solid for what I've seen on the YouTubes for the last few days. I know Slender's been paying attention, obviously, because I think you really enjoyed some of the previous Dragon Ages, right?
Dude, I thoroughly enjoyed Dragon Age Origins. Every subsequent title has been a step backwards. And apparently they were pretty close to a cliff when they started taking those backward steps because Veilguard looks like they finally just went over the edge. It's bad. It's really bad. It's like they're competing with fucking Ubisoft and Assassin's Creed Shadows. They're like, no, our game's gonna be worse. No, our game's gonna be worse. Oh yeah? Well, we're gonna do this shit. Well, we're gonna do this shit.
We spent 10 years making it worse. Well, we spent 11.
So we've got a clip that I think kind of sums things up. I'm going to get it
Let me
loaded
guess.
while you talk.
The Barbies or
I
whatever.
thought you were about to fire it off.
I don't know. I'm sure. I know Brahma's seen this clip. Slender, have you
this
seen it?
already looks bad.
Oh, it's bad.
Holding that snake's nose. She's still holding the ruby in her other hand. Maker's panties. I was so proud.
Maker's panties?
Shit. They're still holding it. Sorry.
Oh, fuck off, game.
Yes,
That's
Eric,
right.
That's what it is. And now she's going to go do her Barbie or whatever the hell it's called.
Yeah, so that for those who didn't catch it, we have now had the awkward, oh no, I didn't use the they them pronouns in this medieval fantasy setting because that's fucking something they would have in a medieval fantasy setting.
I
Pronoun
misgendered.
discussion.
Now I must atone.
What are you doing?
Pulling a barb.
Oh,
Oh, that's a girl too.
okay. A barb.
Tradition in the Lords of Fortune from one of our old members, Barv. Good guy, but like most of us, his plans went sideways a lot. Bad blood among your crews, not good for morale. But there's
What
not always
is
time
this?
for big, drawn-out apologies.
A
So
struggle
when one of us
session.
screws up and we know we've screwed
It's
up, we don't
atonement.
pretend to put it right. Pulling a Barv.
So they apparently, if they make any kind of mistake, will immediately do 10 push-ups like it's a fucking basic training thing.
Besides
In this
just
case.
saying, oops, sorry, you have to actually go physically do something because that's quicker than the apology.
Does any of this move the story forward?
We don't know what the story is yet.
I like Davina misgendering a character as a capital offense twink.
Davina's in a mood tonight, huh?
I know, it's great.
Oh, there we go.
There's always this weird,
I'm glad the
awkward.
Lords of Fortune have Tarsh's back.
Oh, Tarsh isn't the first non-binary member of the Lords.
Are you fucking serious?
Fuck off game. Yeah. By the way, look at that character design right there. That makes me want to play this game.
I'm still trying to figure out if the the thing on the right, because it looks like a dude, but it sounded like a woman. If that shit sticking out the front is them, or they're wearing some sort of weird outfit.
I think they're wearing an outfit because the arms are skin, same as the
The character design on the right looks like they took Teal'c from Stargate SG-1 and added horns.
Fucking compare Teal'c to that. Ever. Teal'c was awesome. That is
Indeed.
a combination.
Your mic is kind of going up and down a lot there, Slender. I don't know if anyone
I don't
else
know
has
what to tell
noticed.
you.
Yeah,
It's the usual.
the usual. Got it.
Let me reset it.
Really?
It was a little before your time, but Horlicks was one of ours.
Huh.
Bastard
Looked
looked
better
better
in
than
a
I
dress
did in
than
a
I
dress
do.
or pants. And out of them, too.
You like the
Any reason you can't just
non-binary
apologize?
transgender
Sometimes people say
color
"Oops,
scheme they're
sorry,"
using
and
too?
hope that fixes it. But they just want to get the whole thing over with. Trust me, I know. But pulling a barf, you sweat a little. Makes you think about it a little more. Shows the other person you mean it.
So again, like
They're
Brahma said,
having
if you're
a
going to
whole
apologize, it's got to be a
about
struggle.
apologies.
Yeah, no, it's because it's got to be a full struggle session.
This
No,
is fucking stupid. I hate it. Thanks. I hate it. Oh, I see why my audio is so bad, because fucking Windows decided to turn me down on the microphone side again. How's that?
A little hot.
yeah, now, yeah,
Now turn
Now
your
it's
gain
hot?
down a little
yeah,
bit.
well, yeah, because
Of course.
because you had adjusted all the other settings. Man, Windows been doing that lately. I've had to check.
right.
I've made it my routine to check every time.
Do that. That's probably
Is Bride offering commentary?
Bride is offering commentary, and it's making it really hard for me to follow what everybody's saying.
Are
No
the
worries.
voice actors rolling their eyes as they deliver this trash? Maybe. Some of them are all on board with this stuff. I don't know.
It was probably their idea to make this fucking scene.
Ooh, let me add my input.
Yeah.
I hate y'all for making me see this clip.
I
My
hate
eyes, they
myself
burn.
for seeing it.
Suffer with us.
Eric, someday I'm going to start a production company and make a game just out of spite. Actually, Mad cued us into a game that seems to be made out of spite. It's a medieval time travel
Kingmaker.
Kingmakers.
Kingmaker. It looks pretty. I'm
Coming out
much
fourth
more
quarter,
looking for-
2024.
Yeah, I feel like that might crush the concurrent users on this game.
Oh, absolutely. Without
what
a doubt.
if they mean it when they say they're sorry, though?
And that's the other reason. Some people mess up and get all dramatic. They make it about them. Oh, I didn't mean it right. I'd never do that on purpose.
The fuck
They
does
feel
this have to
so
do with the
bad
game?
about it that it's on everyone else to
Nobody
smooth it.
knows.
They had to work it because you hear this little bit right here. It's like, even if you say you're sorry and you didn't mean it, fuck you, you're still an evil person. Like,
This is
But if you go
why
look at who
these-
made the game and who directed and wrote the game, you find out real quick why.
This is why these people can't do self-inserts. This is as interesting as their life gets. You can't make a game with a self-insert character if your life doesn't get any more interesting than this shit.
What's the worst thing that happened in your life? I was misgendered.
Medieval times. It. By the way, it sounds like
Somebody
Slender's.
apologized to me, and then they made it all about them, and
It
I was
sounds-
sad.
It sounds like Slender's mic is actively fighting him as he yells,
Yeah,
like trying to
the
keep him at a
limiter is
level.
trying
Yeah.
to.
The
The limiter's
microphone
trying to
is
save us all.
on November 1st, 2024. Slender's microphone became self-aware. Matt, is this a clip you want me to play
Screw your
now?
freedom.
Well, so yes, is this whenever this one's over? Because this goes back to the mall thing. It just took a while for me to find it.
Over and make them feel better.
Oh, okay. Yes, some people might do that.
Pulling a barv puts it on the person who screwed up. They made the mess, they fix it, done.
Sounds like Lucy Lawless.
No, that's not Lucy Lawless, but yeah.
I know it's not. but that-
I can't believe these are your options. This is not an RPG. If I don't have the option to be like, shut the fuck up, cunt.
They made it. That absolutely needs to be a dialogue choice. They made a AAA game out of petty woke tone policing. They entirely did.
This whole conversation is about pulling a barf. Is this going to come back and be of some value later in the fucking game?
Yeah.
Are you going to be able to like talk about the tone that the final boss has and convince him that he should surrender without a fight because he's pulling a fucking barf?
Yeah, in the middle of the dungeon boss, when
Now-
the dungeon boss is some like evil incarnate beast, and it looks over and says, "She shall die here," and they go, "Whoa, whoa."
What
Well,
happened?
she-
Did I say
It's-
something
her
wrong?
Pronouns are they, them.
No. I didn't mean to say that. Oh my god, this is so embarrassing.
Don't you see the top surgery scars?
When I get sent back to hell, all the other demons are gonna make fun of me and my.
I feel like that would be what is it, a robot chicken skit? You're like, whoa, well, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that.
He has to go back and report to Lucifer. So how did it go? Okay, listen, don't get mad. Don't get mad at me. But I misgendered someone. You did what?
It's like, you fuck, it's like, Azazel, you fuck. You are now, I'm reporting you to HR for
Hitler's over
retraining.
there just nodding his head like, oh, it's in shame. Like, how dare you do
It's
that
like,
to him?
Adolf is the head of our DEI department. He's going to help you reorient.
They're all
Finally, I'm out of the
disembodied.
doghouse.
All right.
Oh, yeah.
So
This is a commercial.
Kid, would you like some drugs? The first one is free.
Want to check out my van? I got some candy.
Hey kid, want to join our gang and spray paint under a bridge?
No, I'm going roller skating.
Ooh, we gotta look up.
I want to be addicted to roller skating, not crack. Because we roller skate today, we will go to college tomorrow. Prison is full of people that have never roller skated.
That's a good
I'm
point.
Brad Armstrong, owner of Roller Kingdom in Reno, Nevada, keeping your kids off the streets since 1999.
I say no to drugs. I say no to gangs.
I say no to unplanned pregnancy.
I say no to meth. I say no to reefer. I say yes to roller skating.
now, does
Man,
the man
this Roller Kingdom is really putting us out of business. You said it, man. This
That
deal
sounded like
sucks.
Kamala
But you
trying
know
to do
what?
the
Maybe
accent.
we should give up this life of crime and start roller
those are Medic for
skating.
Kamala. Yeah, there you go.
Ugh, how
The
great is
dude
that?
who was like, I say no to unplanned pregnancies, yes, because no woman says yes to you.
Yes.
Oh,
Much like many of the women who are making such a big deal about abortion rights. It's like,
oh.
no, we're looking at you. You're never going to have to worry about that.
Eric says, I remember this ad, but he wasn't in Reno, so it made the rounds. That is crazy. I can't believe. I mean, it's a fair point. I would like to see the statistical study of men who are in prison that never roller skated, and to see if that Venn diagram's got to be really small. It's like that'll be a Trump idea. We're going to build roller skating parks to keep them out of prison. What does Davina say? All those things are happening at the roller rink. Unplanned pregnancy, drugs, spray painting, roller gangs. On the one hand,
Watch
I'm the
any
one in my
roller
town.
derby.
yeah. You know, the funny part is at the very beginning of the ad, when the guy is like, do you want any drugs? If that was Matt, he would have been like, yes. Can you-
well, not the
I will
ibuprofen. He had a. he
was
was
like,
handing out.
here's my
The first case
prescription.
is free.
Here's my prescription. Go. Can you fill this? I will pay you.
You send it to me unmarked.
It's like, here's my empty orange bottles. Just put the tabs in there and we'll have a deal. It is refreshingly wholesome. The only thing more wholesome are Japanese McDonald's ads, which I don't know if you've ever seen those making the rounds on Twitter.
Yeah, I saw one. The one.
I
ad
mean,
was-
That and
Go
youth
ahead.
pastors doing rap songs for Jesus.
Yep.
I mean, well, you know what? I take it back. What might be more wholesome is ripping yellow pages for Jesus.
How dare you? That's a real thing that happened.
Oh yeah, Dare. I saw a Dare cop car today, or not today, but yesterday driving on the road, and I was like, holy crap, they still have those, you know, where they deck them all out with the colors and all the stuff to bring to the Dare events. Like that program is still going on. It does. I don't know how that works. Like these are the drugs you can't take, but these are the legal ones that you can have possession of once you're an adult, as long as you're using them for recreational use and you don't have them in greater than this quantity. I was like, I don't know how. Marijuana was a big section of the Dare program when I was in it as a kid. I don't know how they do that nowadays.
Gateway drug.
Mad, how would you address as a cop now dealing with the marijuana question to a young one if you were having to teach a Dare class?
Ask your parents before consuming anything that you buy off the streets.
Make sure you cut the gummies in half.
Or quarters.
Or quarters.
Or fifths in some cases.
Mad's like, let me tell you the story about the one time I didn't do that, children.
Let me tell you the story about where I took one and I didn't think anything was happening, so I took another.
It happens.
Let me tell
bro.
you about it.
Then I called Brahma and giggled like a schoolgirl.
Yeah, that's what I was
Different
going to
time.
say.
Different time.
Make sure your bro's phone number is on the top of your dialer, and you can call him and get giggly. You want to get giggly with someone you can trust, not someone who's going to make fun of you.
And what was the fix, Mad?
Sweet tea.
Go drink some tea. A lot of tea.
Mad is
You've got
just like,
6 hours before your next show.
let's see. Drug Abuse Resistant Education, or DARE, is an American education program that tries to prevent use of controlled drugs, membership in gangs, and violent behavior. It was founded in Los Angeles in 1983. Yeah, I remember. I had a DARE T-shirt that I got for completing the program in 5th grade. It was fun stuff. All right, is this safe to add to the stage, man?
Yes. I found this today. I have to show you guys.
Public.
What are you doing?
Drinking in public.
Why?
Feeling like a bad boy today.
You just walked up to a cop drinking in public because you felt like a bad boy? How old are you?
I'm not old enough.
Is that really beer?
Yeah.
Why don't you pour it out?
No.
Seriously?
This is a terrible idea.
You have mental health issues?
Hell no.
You're just drunk?
I'm drunk in love.
You trying to piss me off?
Are you a deputy?
Yes, I am.
Yeah.
So this is what we live here. Where do you live at? Where do you live? Listen.
We got Tina over here. A gummy with a glass of wine and an Ambien was the best night I can remember. That is definitely not.
I can't remember.
I can't remember. And Bad Take Bojan will never be teaching a DARE class. So, although that's in line with what Eric said, Scott Adams once said a DARE officer described crack as 50 orgasms at once, and I went 50 at once. I kind of want to try crack now.
I mean, he's not lying. But anyway, yeah, I love that clip, man. At the end, he's like, hee hee. It's so good, dude. I would have had so much fun with him.
Matt, he's cutting deep on you. So DARE officially gave out more merch than the Army recruiters since shirt.
Dude, I want to run some numbers by you.
Okay, I know numbers.
I've been looking on the Veilguard on SteamDB about Veilguard, right? Right now, it has an all-time peak of 77,465.
Yes.
Yep.
Correct.
Number of players right now is also pretty low. Run that by the Monster Hunter Wilds beta test that's going on.
Actually, we ran it by Phasmophobia earlier. The 24-hour peak for Phasmophobia is almost 48,000 on a 4-year-old game.
Yeah, well, Monster Hunter Wilds, this is still in beta.
Yeah, it's just an open beta.
I don't see nothing's coming up.
Let me put the link in for you. Maybe you're on the wrong one. Okay, in private chat.
Got it.
Pull that one. And this game ain't even coming out till February of next year, by the way.
145,620 people playing right now with a 24-hour peak of 463,798.
Well, that's not fair. This one's in beta.
Are better.
It's not fair, though.
That means most people can't even buy this fucking game yet.
This is why I shouldn't count. Moving on.
Helldivers got screwed when Sony pulled the PC gamers.
Yep,
if they
that killed
wanted to
all
have
the
a
motivation.
PlayStation, would have a play. I have a PlayStation. I had a Sony ID. I got pissed off that I had to put a Sony ID in. I mean, they eventually changed that sort of, maybe in North America at least, but it was, I don't know. Sony PC gaming should be another outlet to make money for Sony. And they're still trying to monetize and get you into that Sony user ecosystem, which, by the way, has such a fantastic reputation for data security. They've been breached like 17 times. So, and PC gamers don't want that. They're going to not buy your game because of that. I mean, I guess Ghost of Tsushima, has that hit its PC release? Is it already out?
Yeah, it's on PC.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did it sell on Steam? Did anyone, I didn't get it. Did any
Sold
of you guys get it on
okay.
Steam? Yeah. I mean, I
already had it on PlayStation 4, so.
Oh, and with what I said before we went live about how Elden Ring's probably cutting into the numbers for Dragon Age, 24-hour peak for Elden Ring, which is what, 5 years old now? Something like
It's
that?
still pretty good. It's still pretty good.
41,850 at a 24-hour peak and 27,233 playing right now.
And that's
So
not included all the mod people playing.
Yeah.
But I may
And
not
that's-
count that because you're not connecting to Steam with the mod.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
that's
what
wow,
I'm saying.
those are
It's
good
not
numbers for a
including that.
5-year-old game.
I
Yeah.
don't think it's that old, is it? It's only 3 years old.
It released in 2022 in February. So it'll be a
Yeah, so we're
3-year-old game
approaching
in
3
February.
years.
Okay. Either way,
But
that's still
that's
really
still-
that's good numbers for a game that's over a year old.
All
Honestly.
right, so this is a 3-year-old game, and now this, by the way, again was Dragon Age, which is just out in the like your first week is usually your peak. If you're, if you're a game that builds it's rare, like Helldivers did. Helldivers released and peaked over the first 3-4 weeks, but this game is not going to peak. Its user base seems to be what it is, which it was 77,000 at peak. Its earlier peak was around 70,000, so right within 4,000. So you didn't get this whole weekend boost where people came in Friday night like, oh, I'm off now, I can play the game. They haven't jumped in. This is just going to start trickling down. That for a AAA game, that probably, what is the budget we guess on this kind of game? $300-400 million?
Probably.
For Dragon Age Veilguard, I would say, just based on the numbers everybody's been dropping on games like this lately, probably at least $150 million.
And then double that for advertisement.
Right, like that like movies does not count the marketing, which
Now,
we know they've been paying for marketing.
What's interesting here is it is rated mostly positive on reviews, and which is out of, what is this?
About
6,300 reviews. It's got 5,000 positive, 1,393 negative. What Imp was saying before our show started, Imp, if you want to make that point about those positive reviews.
Oh yeah, they're all copy paste. If you look at
it is very possible with everything that we have seen them doing thus far that they they're employing bot farms. They're doing everything they can to make the game look like it's succeeding on the hopes that makes people buy the game. I don't trust these numbers, if I'm honest.
Well, if you go and look at what is it, metadata or not metadata,
Metacritic?
Yeah. The journalist reviews are all high, but the actual player reviews is sitting at 2.5.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Let's
they're
see.
not
I think
good
I got
reviews.
the wrong Guild Wars.
And here's another one too. Baldur's Gate 3 right now is only about 3,500 players less than Dragon Age.
The top one, Chad.
That's the one I clicked, but it seems awful low.
Oh, it's been out for a little while.
Yeah, but for an all-time peak to only have
All-time
8,000
peak,
players.
Yeah.
for Guild Wars 2. I feel like
I just wonder how many people played it or got it on Steam originally.
Yeah, it wasn't originally on Steam. I don't
Dude,
think.
actually, here's a perfect one to compare it to, because this one caused a big stir this year too, or it might have been last year. But here, I just put that in there. Pull that chart up and compare.
all right.
What, Starfield?
Nope.
Oh, that was a good call, Slender.
Yeah.
Hogwarts Legacy. All-time peak 879,000 players. Even in the last 24 hours, it's still pulling 23,000 with 15,000 actively playing at the moment.
Yeah, and this game is what, a year old now?
It's gonna be actually it's gonna be 2 years old.
2 years.
2 years in February.
By the way, looking at concurrent players right now, Dragon Age it can't even crack the top 10.
Yeah.
No, and that's I mean, I feel like we're gonna start getting, and I think we probably already have the, why toxic fandom destroyed Dragon Age. Like they're gonna circle the wagons.
I don't fucking care. I'm
just on. Do you not think it's gonna be coming
for this? They're gonna do it. Yeah, they're gonna do it. They already have. They've already started that.
You're also starting to see people sit there and like, oh, all these, right-wing grifters or hypocrites. Look at them buying the game that they said is going to fail. It's like, it's not hypocritical to put your money where your fucking mouth is, retard.
You know what? I will buy Dragon Age, the Veilguard, when they put the Trump mod available on Steam.
Dude, if we were monetized, I would buy the game tomorrow and produce a review inside a month. But I'm not spending my money on that game.
Estimate of 300,000 to 500,000 daily players on Guild Wars 2. Oh, jeez. Still going.
Yeah, but that's an MMO, correct? Those that's a whole different ball of shit.
Yeah.
Those numbers,
I think
they're not comparable to single player experiences.
No, I feel like Hogwarts Legacy, Elden Ring are probably super apples to apples comparisons to Dragon Age. They're fantasy single player games.
Well, the thing about Guild Wars as well is it's not your standard MMO with a monthly fee. It's a buy to play. You buy, and like the base game and the first expansion I think are free. Other than that, you pay once and that's that.
I know that the Hogwarts has a single player campaign, so to speak. I didn't play it. So is there an online component to it as well?
No idea.
There might be an in-game store. Let me double check. I'm going to look it up. It's not that hard. Hogwarts. It is in my wish list. It's only $18 right now. I might pick this up. Single player, Steam achievements, in-app purchases. But yeah, single player, no multiplayer component.
That's why a lot of people were turning around and laughing at all the people like, look, it's, the player count's dying. Yeah, it's a single player game with no multiplayer component.
Yeah, once you finish the game, you're kind of done.
Yeah. There's no multiple builds like Elden Ring or Diablo. There's no multiplayer component of any kind. So unless you have an itch to replay the game, you're not going to.
Yeah.
Just for another comparison, pull up Lies of P, because that's another similar type game, but it was made, I think this was their first major release.
Yeah, that game was
Lives of
Lies, like
Lies.
Deceptions.
Okay. There we go. Okay. I mean, 19,000 all-time peak. It was definitely not. But the cost of that game was probably
an indie
nothing.
title, man.
Yeah,
that was made by a studio of like 20 people.
And it was incredibly polished for that too.
It was.
I'm telling you,
very clean.
I was talking
and it's
with
80% off right now.
I was talking with my father because not politics on this show, but we were talking about Zachary Levi and him coming out for Trump and everything. But how Zachary Levi basically did, I forget, it was on X, a clip of it where Levi was talking about how Hollywood is dying and anyone who's conservative in Hollywood should come out for Trump right now, because in the next 3 to 4 years, AI is going to replace everybody in Hollywood, your industry is going to be just destroyed.
Yeah.
And so and he was like, is it really that kind of thing? So I was like, hold on, Dad, let me show you. I was like, about a year and a half, 2 years ago, me and one of the former co-hosts on the Ascendant Art podcast were tooling around with Mid Journey, just made, one of the first AI image generators that got popular. And from what we could do then to what you can make now with just text prompts and Gronk, and to what you can do if you pay money to get like actual AI tools, that's just in a year and a half, and you're getting like all this crazy good stuff coming. I mean, there's still stuff, it still needs to be refined. It's still a problem, but in about another 3 to 4 years, with actual money going in and the refinement to the AI tools, creative industries are going to be completely changed, because indie studios are going to be able to create polished content at a level of AAA like budgets for nothing. We're going to, they're going to be able to buy these tools and create games that look like they're AAA polished titles. And it's all going to come down to story and what game is more engaging to players, like it always has. But the polish difference is going to be gone. Like, Ubisoft used to be able to have a polished game at a level that was much higher than all these indie studios because they had budgets and tools. Now that's gone. Like these, what are called AA studios, which are the step below, which are making comparatively low budget video games, are putting out content like Lies of P. Because I watched when Brahma was playing that game, to me it looked very similar to the level of what Elden Ring was putting out, like in terms of graphics and the gameplay.
Yeah, and compelling story.
Yeah, so I think all these big major behemoth studios, Bethesda, BioWare, Activision, which is now a part of Microsoft, they're not going to be nimble, and these little guy studios with AI tools are going to be who's putting out games in the next 5 years, where everybody's buying them. I think we've hit the peak, and we are now on if we're on the roller coaster, we're on the down for AAA studios.
I put an article in the back about that goes along with Zachary Levi's comments from Robert Downey Jr.
There are a handful of studios like that. There are a handful of AAA studios I think will survive. Square Enix probably going to survive because they're already correcting. Unfortunately, they're going to hurt for the next couple of years. FromSoft is obviously going to survive because they never fucked it up in the first place.
Yep.
There's a couple other studios, but there are a lot that aren't going to make it. Ubisoft ain't going to survive. EA is not looking good. Bethesda, like there's a lot of big studios that aren't going to make it.
So the model needs to change. If you're EA, what you need to do, and this is going to sound crazy, is basically fire all your dev teams, like all the in-house bloat that you have, and go to independent, like AA size studios, and just fund them to make the game for you. Just completely outsource the game development, and just basically become like a movie studio that goes to Sundance, where you acquire titles. Just let put money, like start letting these people make these games and just acquire the titles for like $20 million, $30 million, $50 million, whatever the cost is, and then you put it out as an EA game. Or if you have specific, like EA has the rights to Star Wars games, they should turn around to some AA studios and let them just make Star Wars games. Give them we're going to give you $200 million, not even. We're going to give you $100 million to make a Star Wars game. You have a year and a half or 2 years to deliver it.
Don't fuck
Go
it up.
for it. Yeah, just make a good one. And that's what they're going to do, because then they don't have to pay all their bloat. They don't have all this other stuff. That's going to be the end of the future of it. They're going to make deals with micro studios and AA studios and just buy the rights to those games, kind of like the way Sony and Microsoft used to do it, where they would just task studios to make games that were exclusive for the system, and it was very successful for them. the biggest mistake a studio would make is when they would sell out to Microsoft or Sony, and then it seemed like they just go down the tubes. I can't think of one game studio that made better games or was better off after they sold out to Microsoft or Sony. Not one.
Davina, on that front, those games weren't as much a license to print money as you might think, because getting the license for those songs was incredibly expensive. And those, like, even me, who I loved Guitar Hero, I loved Rock Band, those were a lot of fun, but I loved them for like a couple months.
Yeah.
And then the fad was kind of over, and I came back every couple of years.
And they were very easy to mod your own songs.
Yeah.
Find modded songs, which didn't have to worry about any licensing, although not exactly on the up and up.
Yep.
You know, it's funny that you bring that HarmonX lost the USB drives for the games because they fired all the developers. There is the two best Transformers video games that were ever made were The War for Cybertron and The Fall of Cybertron. And they're great games. I believe Full Moon Studios or something like that was the game developer, and they went out of business. So these games, you're like, where did these games go? You haven't seen them repurposed for any like digital releases on any of the new systems, like like Steam or anything like that. And it's because the developer went out of business and the files apparently got deleted somewhere. They're just gone. So they can't like remaster or do a release for new systems because the game files are all gone. And Transformers fans like me who played them love these games and want to buy them again, like on a new system or on Steam, and they just can't. And I know that somehow between the rights, like they went bankrupt, got bought out. Somehow now Microsoft owns them, or the intellectual property of what used to be their studio. So there's hope that somehow Microsoft will find within some kind of server backed up somewhere these games. But yeah, you can lose games. Yeah, War for Cybertron is rare. It's a great game too.
That actually happened over in Japan after that tsunami and earthquake combo.
Hey, 70s, how are you, sir?
Good evening.
Yeah.
I'm doing good. How are you guys?
Good. So what Brahma shared is this fun article about Robert Downey Jr. saying he intends to sue all
Hold
future
on, I had one more thing to add. I was muted, and I was saying it, and I was wondering why no one was listening. It's because I was muted.
Okay.
No, there's actually been a study on this. There's a whole movement to preserve old video games. I think the study found that like more than 80% of video games that have been made throughout history, and it's a short history for video games, they're not available in any playable form anymore.
Right. All of those old games
gone.
from the 80s.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Well, I mean, if you still have a working Atari, if you still have a working Neo Geo, whatever system, random thing. I know Imp is an expert on ROMs and softwares that will play those ROMs for you if you have the legal right to do so.
Just say emulation.
So Slender, is that because the source code is all gone, or there's no actual copy of the playable game available existing? Like what stops?
A little bit of both.
A little bit of both, right? Yeah.
They're just lost to time. Nobody thought to.
Yeah, they don't have the code.
And nobody's got a
The
copy.
people who made the game are gone. Not even in the industry, retired. They didn't continue to make new titles. They didn't do there was never a Mario Brothers remaster. Like they remaster fucking everything nowadays. So now it's like, oh well, I didn't get a Red Dead Redemption. I'll just wait for the remaster in 2 years, you know. But
It's just the same.
Yeah. Now to Soul Assassin, what's the lifespan for old cartridge games? Every old cartridge game that I have, when I plug it into a system, works just fine. Like on the old Atari ones, or even for the Nintendo ones, if you have any major issues, if you just take a Q-tip with a tiny little bit of rubbing alcohol and kind of clean the connector pins, it'll usually clear it right up and start working just fine.
It's typically not the games that have the problem. It's the connector that the game slots into in the Nintendo itself.
Now, what's
that needs
funny
to be
is
replaced every now and then.
there are basically knockoff systems for Nintendo, for Atari, for Super Nintendo that like you can get, and this is something I got from one of my brothers for their birthday like 5-6 years ago. Was basically it was a unit. I forget which random brand name it was, but it had a cartridge. You could do Super Nintendo, regular Nintendo, and Sega Genesis cartridges all on the same unit.
Yeah,
and it had. I was going to say it had the plugs for.
Not as reliable as the original hardware, though.
Yeah, but if you don't have the
Foibles
original
with
hardware,
those.
yeah, but one of those is about, I don't know, $120. You're probably paying almost that for a Super Nintendo now.
Yep.
now to what
So-
Eric's saying, I was going to say, I mean, cartridges I think will last longer than some of those first generation CD-ROMs,
If you take
which
care
were
of them.
very,
Yeah.
which were very
they'll
sensitive.
definitely
to
last
scratches.
longer. And to Brahma's point, if your cartridge stuff is actually starting to be a little unreliable, in addition to the old blow technique where you just blow into the cartridge, the contacts, any copper contacts like that, just hit them with a pencil eraser real good, and then a cotton swab with some isopropyl alcohol, and 9 times out of 10, you will have restored it. It will work again.
The only thing you have to worry about with cartridges is if they have a battery backup like Zelda.
Yep.
And that's just the
Which there
battery
weren't
going
many.
bad. No, there weren't many. And even then, it's just there's a fairly standard watch style battery, and unscrew the cartridge, pop the battery out, and pop a new one in.
Yep.
Yeah, it's the
They are
72
easy to
pin
get.
connector. The 72 pin connector in the Nintendo itself is typically what you're going to replace. And you can get those on Amazon for 10, 12
And they're
bucks.
not hard to change. When I was working at a game store, that was the biggest fix I had to do, other than taking a Q-tip to CD lenses.
Yeah, it's simple. I've changed out 3 or 4 of them. Because
Yeah.
I've got 6 Nintendos sitting over there, I think.
Yep. And that-
Brahma the Hoarder.
yeah. Hey, eventually it'll all come back.
Those will be the
Screen
current.
records and backups and versioning.
The,
I don't
those
think
will
that
be
happened until
post.
the late 90s, early 2000s.
Yeah, those will be post-apocalyptic currency that Bram
Yes.
is keeping.
Speaking of everything coming back, like we said, this article with Robert Downey Jr., I don't know how he can intend to sue all future executives who use his AI
Is he going to
replica.
live
He's
forever?
saying he's going to have in perpetuity lawyers ready to go after
Well,
his death, even.
So
Wait,
that's fine.
He's going to create an AI of himself to sue them after he's dead.
So I hate to break it to Mr. Downey Jr., but he's got a wife and he's got kids now, right? So eventually one of his kids or grandkids is going to want money and they're going to sell his likeness rights.
That's
And
what
they
he would have wanted.
and he won't have any control over it because any of this idea that he has where he can put in perpetuity that his likeness rights will never be sellable is bullshit because his heirs will be able to break that rule.
Yes.
Or and this is another thing, copyright law, right? Copyright, like like eventually you will become a public domain thing. Even your own likeness can eventually become public domain.
He's convinced anyone would want it.
Now, what is interesting, because this actually was speaking the same conversation that I was having with my father, the example I gave for how AI was going to, and the movie studios were already taking the steps to prepare for it, was that Disney made the deal with James Earl Jones like 5-6 years ago, where they bought the right to his voice forever. And they're going to use AI tools to basically create it for using Darth Vader's,
They're taking him well past him when he's 90.
Yeah.
James Earl Jones's voice will be appearing in 3D holographic movies of the future hundreds of years from now.
They're going to make Lion King 14, and when Mufasa comes back from the dead and speaks in the cloud, it will actually be James Earl Jones' voice from the dead speaking.
You know, in the AI, when the aliens find the robot kid in the room at the end of the movie, and that'll be James Earl Jones's voice will be there to greet them.
It's funny. I really didn't like AI when it came out. I thought it was kind of pretentious and silly, and it's one of those ones where I've kind of grown into kind of liking and appreciating it more.
Had its moments.
It had moments. Yeah, it's especially Jude Law's performance. Really, I picked up. There's a lot more nuance to it than the first time I saw it when I was just kind of bored.
It would have been interesting to see the Stanley Kubrick version, because wasn't it taken over by Spielberg?
Yeah,
when
that
Kubrick
was
died?
going to be Kubrick. It's final. That was his. I shouldn't say final. That was the movie he had lined up to do after Eyes Wide Shut, and Kubrick died, and so Spielberg came in. I think Kubrick had started doing some pre-production on it, and he passed away, and that's when Spielberg took it over. And I think that one and Minority Report are kind of the last Spielberg-y movies, that were very much Steven Spielberg. After that, he kind of went away from his traditional style, and I don't really see it in his movies anymore. Those were the last two that I see Spielberg kind of coming out.
What was the last movie he even made?
West Side Story.
Oh, right, of course.
Yeah, that he didn't want subtitles for.
Which was
you should just know how to speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then you don't need to listen into their secret conversation.
Yeah.
You know who else has secret conversations? Shredder. Probably in there talking like right now. It's like, how do I get more stamina for these games? And then I hear Mad's joy. I have to leave and interrupt him.
Well, actually, she has a conference next week, so she's working her ass off.
Oh, okay. Well, there's that too. Yeah,
Winter
Ready
Stamina.
Player.
So she can't stop your joy.
Nope.
Okay, so
yeah, she can.
I forgot. So yeah, Ready Player One was a Spielberg movie, but it's weird because it was Spielberg doing an homage to Spielberg. It like the movie is such an 80s just callback, 80s and 90s callbacks constantly. That it's hard. Like, is it? It's like Inception. Is this Spielberg using his own stamp, or is this Spielberg doing an impression of someone's opinion of Spielberg?
But I enjoyed it more than I thought I would.
Yeah,
when I watched it, I thought that was actually better than I imagined it would be.
The book was so much better, though.
Yeah, the book was 1,000 times better. Bad Take Bojan also said that Ready Player One was an amazing book. I don't disagree with that. However, if you watch anime, that was a really unoriginal story. I'm sorry.
It was just the first time it was kind of done really Western.
So it was basically
a westernized version of a story that has been told probably 7 or 8 times in anime now.
Yeah,
Sword Art Online.
and instead of Japanese cultural references, it's all filled with 80s and 90s cultural touchstones of Americans.
Well, the book had that too with a couple.
It was good.
The book had that too with a couple of D&D references that are kind of deep cuts.
Yeah,
and you're never going to be able to do justice to the book because you really only had Spielberg's crap to do it with.
Yeah, so the follow-up novel that he did, which was called Armada, which was, I'm going to take 80s movies, I'm going to specifically do The Last Starfighter as a real movie, and as a not real movie, as a real thing that happened in the book. And it just, how do I put this? The plot contrivances. Yeah, there was. Yeah, they loved Rush in it too, but the plot contrivances, like, it's okay to have occasional coincidences that happen, but for every single major event to have that magic coincidence that allows them to do the next step, like get through. It was like it's like a video game.
It's like a modern Marvel movie or a modern video game.
Yeah. All right.
Plot contrivances for Ready Player One.
No, for Armada, which is his book that he did after Ready Player One.
Okay, I was gonna say I thought that they did pretty well with Ready Player One.
Ready Player One was pretty solid. I mean, it was a ripoff, like you said, of a lot of anime stuff, but it was still done well for what it was. Armada was just a bad it's a bad take on the genre. Like he was basically trying to do what he did with Ready Player One, he was doing with Last Starfighter, where like, hey, what if Last Starfighter was a movie that the United States made to prepare us mentally for what was actually happening, which was video game players defending the Earth from aliens.
Sounds an awful lot like another movie.
Ender's Game.
Yes.
Yeah. Which I like Ender's Game, I don't
like
think
the
he
movie,
did.
but the book series is fantastic. All
Yeah, Ender.
like 80
By the
of
way,
them.
by the way, he shouldn't have felt guilty. He did nothing wrong. They asked for it. So he's, they attacked us. We nuked their planet. It works.
Mhm.
It was perfectly fine.
Exactly.
So
Kill would be killed. in
I thought,
space.
the film was actually really good. Asa, was it Asa Butterworth or whatever his name was?
Don't know.
As a kid actor, he was perfect for Ender. He had
What
like
was his
that.
name?
He had that detached like vibe perfectly.
Yeah,
I did.
All
Some of
the kids actually did pretty well in that movie because it's hard to have that many kids in a movie and have it come out good.
I did think why Ben Kingsley constantly gets cast as these ethnic people
Right.
is still a problem for me. Like
Gandhi.
like Gandhi, that was 1980 or 81. Okay, I kind of get it. But the Ender's Game was what, 2013, 2014? And we're casting Ben Kingsley as a like New Zealand, like actual like New Zealander of
Maori.
of Samoan Maori descent with the tattoos and everything like that. And it's like, you've got real New Zealand actors you could have tagged. What is maybe I don't normally get into the
Wouldn't happen
DEI
now.
thing, but Ben Kingsley's like white, like full on white Englishman.
That's
Let's-
Academy Award winner Ben Kingsley to you.
Yeah, I remember Davina. They tried to like, as popular as the movie was, for some reason, I shouldn't say for some reason, the Screeching Harpies waited till the movie was close to release to decide to go after it with
Try
Orson
to
Scott
cancel
Card
Orson Scott Card
because
yeah.
he is a traditional Christian who has a lot of specific traditional Christian values, which are not controversial as a Christian, and they try to kill him for it. And not just cancel him. I mean, they were talking about how they wanted to kill him.
It's a weird thing because from the Christian perspective, it's like, yes, these are the things we believe. We're not going to try and force them on anybody. We're really not. But everybody on the other side is like, you're going to try and force everything you believe on everyone else. And it's like, no, not really.
Meanwhile, what happens is Christians get everybody else's beliefs forced on them for the most part.
Yeah, all the fucking time.
Yep.
And that devolved.
Yeah.
But Ender's Game was great.
Ender's Game was
great.
All right, so
I
Ender's
would
Game.
suggest reading the book series. I mean, as
should've-
many of them as you can, because there's a ton of them.
When they attacked Orson Scott, he should have played his card.
That's funny. Wait,
No, it isn't. Oh, I went to that movie last night, Sabaton.
Absolution?
The tour to end all tours. No,
Which one?
Sabaton. The
Oh.
tour to end all tours. I was at that last night, and it was awesome.
I
like
appreciate
Sabaton. They're
that.
a good band.
That 70s is going to be like all these super limited releases. That's the movie I'm going to
That's
go
the
see.
only movie on this list.
So this
oh,
is
no, I saw Godzilla -1 in the cinema. The black and white one.
Absolution looked interesting. That's a Liam Neeson kind of. I mean, he's at that phase. He's an aging gangster trying to reconnect with his children, and his criminal lifestyle threatens to destroy everything he holds dear. That's the kind of movie I usually enjoy. I mean,
I bet he's pretty handy with a shotgun in it.
yeah, I'm hoping.
A little too dramatic for my liking.
I mean, it's Liam Neeson. You know they're going to be dramatic. Have you seen The Gray?
Yes, it's actually pretty good.
I've heard
It's
pretty
Matt likes
good.
it.
one of my favorites.
The Gray is awesome. He's like, I'm gonna fucking stand up against these wolves, man. I'm gonna break these little bottles, and I'm gonna
fuck Peter.
I liked
killing
Liam
these
Neeson when he was Raj Al Ghul in Batman. So
He did do a good job as Raish.
He did.
Is all right. Is it Roz or Rish?
I've heard it
Depends.
pronounced both ways.
yeah.
In the cartoon, it was always Raish.
We've heard it right there. Imp goes both ways.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was announced today or yesterday that another Godzilla movie by the guy who did Godzilla -1 is in the work. I don't know that it's going to be another like in that time period. I think, Godzilla movies they can make for whatever they want to do. And Toho, is it Toho who has the rights to Godzilla?
Yes.
So Toho was so pleased with how Godzilla -1 was received on the budget that they used to make it, that I think they're just going to give this guy probably Godzilla -1 was like a $16 million budget. I imagine that he'll probably get a $40 to $50 million budget this time, and they'll say go to town, make a fun big one.
As long as they make sure that they still keep someone near him that can go, no, dude, no. Because the problem with these really successful guys is then they just let them do whatever they want, and they do all the dumb shit that someone used to be around to tell them is a bad idea.
Mad probably knows this one, but you remember there was a person in ancient Rome that Augustus had walking around behind him constantly?
Wait, what? Say it again?
Augustus, the emperor, right, in Rome?
Yes.
You remember he had one person that he would have constantly walk with him?
Yeah. I mean, Augustus and we never talked about it.
I just know that
you're bit we're trying to work out here or what?
No, Matt always has the historical story references, so I was going to give him one, but he did. So Augustus, because he knew that risk, had a person who was constantly, his only job was to walk behind the emperor and remind him, you are a man, not a god. You are just a man.
Essentially a jester. Yeah.
Yes. You are yours. And he
until we got bored and had that guy executed.
Yeah.
The fool in the king's court was the only one who could speak the truth.
Until he got executed.
Yeah. So
until
this one
he got
wasn't
executed.
Yeah, so we've got Godzilla -1 re-release. If anyone hasn't seen it, I know Mad really enjoyed it, right?
Yes.
I don't think it's going to be dubbed though, so you're going to have to read those subtitles. A lot of limited releases.
Is it
All
Chasing Amy? Is that a documentary?
I know that was like
Chasing Amy.
Yeah.
Let's see. A documentary examines the complex legacy of Kevin Smith's chasing Amy on LGBTQ plus people. Oh,
no
and
thanks.
it's life-saving impact, huh?
I thought.
I mean, it wasn't a bad flick, but yeah, I don't even rate it as one of his best movies.
What's
and
hilarious?
He didn't get a lot of good movies.
Do you remember? All right, so Chasing Amy came out, and it was generally well received, and people liked it.
Yep.
Then there was during the height of the early 2000 gay rights movement, it was being reassessed as being a big problem because what does she do in that movie? She ends up having a relationship with a man and being in love with the man. And so the Born That Way gay people were like, this is bullshit.
Exactly.
And what's funny is now we've come full circle.
We've come around to where you don't even.
Because gender is so fluid. Now Chasing Amy is accepted again because this is perfect for the newer generation where we decide love is love. We just look for love. Like,
well, I mean, it's become so fluid that you could have an argument with your spouse and be like, you know what? I'm so pissed off at you. I'm gay for the next 2 hours.
What's funny is, do you remember that? I know Rama, you might remember Chasing Amy
girls,
has a part.
I don't like those right now.
I've had those
Chasing Amy has a part where
finger cuffs.
No, where what's her name? Joey Lauren Adams is talking to her lesbian friends, and they're asking about her new relationship. And the one lesbian looks at her and goes, "You're playing the fucking pronoun game."
Yeah,
he's like, "You're using they and them. Is it a he or a her?" That's another one that they don't like because in the 90s, pronoun even fucking lesbians were calling her out. Like, look,
the L, the G, and the B did not believe in the other stuff.
They and them is not a gender; it's a plural pronoun. It's plural,
exactly, and that's why
the L and the B and the G. Yeah.
And that's why the girl was yelling at her. Is like, those aren't. Which one is it? Just because it's one or the other. So say it.
Right.
It's I know
a binary choice.
Yeah. So juror number 2, which is Clint Eastwood, it's coming out limited. This is Clint Eastwood's next movie.
Yeah,
so it's always interesting to see whether he's good. He's hit or miss. His movies will be really good or they'll be really bad. And sometimes within really good movies, he'll have scenes with a really bad baby doll that that an American Sniper has to hold that just ruins the scene. But Eastwood is like, fuck it, we do it in one take. That's it.
It was so bad.
Bradley Cooper's like,
I feel like I could do this better. You want to waste all these people's time?
You're wasting this digital film.
That's exactly that. Like Bradley Cooper was like, I don't think this is gonna look right, Clinton. Shut it. We got what we need.
It's in the can.
We're moving on
Check
to the
the
next
gate.
scene.
Fix it in post.
Check the gate.
That
We're moving
scene,
on.
what's funny is that scene might have cost Bradley Cooper an Oscar because it's got so much attention for being
Trying
so
to
terrible.
act with that doll. Yeah.
Yeah, that I think it totally sabotages his attempts at that. Limited. Oh, Boondock Saints getting really released into the theaters. That'll be interesting. I might have to see if that's playing around me. If anybody hasn't seen that, that's just
demands
yeah.
that we go to see that.
Boondock Saints is amazing.
That's one of her favorites.
Never seen it. Oh, it's great.
You know why? So it was scheduled to be released in theaters in 1998. Let me see. And it got delayed and canceled. And this was the stupidest thing I've ever heard because of Columbine. Somehow they thought Columbine High School, 99. It was 99. They decided that somehow Boondock Saints, because they wore the black jackets, would be too reminiscent of Columbine, so they just killed the theatrical release. And it became a huge cult classic on DVD. It was one of the first DVD like mega hits. Like that one and Austin Powers got huge just purely based on home video. The difference was Austin Powers was a theatrical release, had Mike Myers, so they were like, yeah, we're making sequels. This would be great. Boondock Saints, they waited 20 years and did a shitty sequel, which
the sequel was okay.
Sean Patrick Flannery's face was jacked. It was all messed up.
I'm not going to say it was shitty. Was it great? No. Was it okay? Yeah, it was okay. In middle of the road. I'm not going to say it was bad, though.
So Troy Duffy is a unique character. He's the writer-director of Boondock Saints, and there is a great documentary on how absolutely apeshit egotistical this guy was. And it was one of the other reasons that Boondock Saints never, like after it became such a mega hit on like home video, other movie studios wanted to come in and like, hey, this is really great. Let's make a movie. And he's such a pain in the ass that no one would do it for like 20 years. It's fun. I can't remember the name of the documentary, but if you can check that out, it's like it really is funny. Best Christmas pageant ever. Don't think of
needs a hit.
Heretic, A24. I think is that one.
Is that Korean? No. Heretic?
What am I seeing? That's the one. Oh, that one actually looks interesting. Does A24 knock you if you play their stuff?
Don't know. Oh, that
copyright strike.
Okay, that's the horror one. Okay.
With Hugh
Huge Grunt.
Hugh Grant. It was
quite good.
It actually, I mean, it probably doesn't cost that much.
Actually,
let me see.
Good, yeah.
Have you seen the trailer, Matt or Brahma, Slender?
Well, for what?
Nope.
Heretic.
I kind of want to, though. It looks interesting now. I went and pulled it up on the back end, and I like Hugh Grant.
The one. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Let's watch this.
We'll just make sure that we talk a lot, keep it transformative and whatnot.
Which one is the Heretic? Oh, they're playing the Hollies.
My name is Sister
Barnes. The air that I breathe.
Oh, that's what's going to get us dinged is the music.
Yep. Get the stopping. Yeah. We're stopping for pause.
I mean, I can barely see it, and I can barely. Okay, everybody's singing. Fuck it.
No, make your joke, Mad.
It wasn't a joke. I was saying I can barely see it and I can barely hear it. I don't know if it's worth trying to watch it and getting claimed.
Whatever.
Yeah, they'll take all our profits. What do we do?
Are you interested in learning more about the Church of Jesus
They keep
Christ?
that shit, man.
Come on in.
We can come inside.
use it against you later on.
My wife is home. Does that count?
Great.
You like pie?
Yeah.
The older he gets, the better he gets. Hugh Grant.
He's going to eat these kids.
Yeah, he gets better as he gets older. He's great.
Yeah, he was awesome in Paddington too.
Yeah, these kids are gonna get they're gonna get eaten. He's
one way
he's a
or
scary,
another.
creepy dude. Not in the good way.
I could tell that you are a very spiritually curious person.
I think it is good to be religious, to find your faith in a doctrine you actually believe.
Well, our work here is done.
I will.
I mean, he's he's so good at being swarmy, and I love the fact that he's moved into the villain roles now.
Oh, it's great.
Because it does fit him. Like when we were watching, what was it, Dungeons and Dragons?
Yeah, Honor Among Thieves.
Yeah, he was just like being a con man fits Hugh Grant so perfectly. That's why I like the way he's doing things with why am I blanking on his name? Lockstock, Two Smoking Barrels.
Guy Ritchie.
Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, Guy Ritchie.
Yeah.
The Gentleman.
Yeah, he's moved. Yeah, he's like in The Gentleman. He was great.
Slimy as hell. Yeah.
Yeah, he's moved into those roles, and I think when Guy Ritchie does those movies, it's great. I think that's his. He needs to just stick to what he does well.
So he roofied their Coca-Colas, didn't he?
Well, maybe.
Like that's where we're going with this. Like they're gonna pass out.
So sleep, silence angel.
Wait, what is this?
Remember, he said my wife's here baking pie, and so it was a candle to make them think there was pie being cooked.
At this point, his wife's probably really in the pie.
Maybe she's the candle.
She could be.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
Okay.
You're crazy.
A weird window.
We just need to go home.
I won't keep you if you wish to leave. But I want you to choose which door to go through based on your faith.
What's this?
Okay.
This is like basically this. It looks like it's a creepy religious version of Saw, where he's trying to get them to change their behaviors. And I'm kind of down for it. I think this could be interesting with Hugh Grant as the villain doing that.
Does this have to do with us leaving?
Everything.
Well, it's not so much about where you're leaving, it's about where you'll end up when you go.
It will make your hearts beat faster. It may even make you want to die.
Okay.
Do not be afraid.
At that point, they should have just
You won't
rushed him and killed him.
Now, the problem I run into is this was made in Hollywood, so it's probably going to cast religiosity in a negative light.
I mean, A24 is a very independent studio.
Yeah.
So they can go.
It's hard to try to predict what angle they're going to go with. Or
I mean, if you watch Civil War from earlier this year, it was very different than what you thought they might have been going for. I mean, I really liked that movie.
same here. I thought it was beautiful.
Trailer thing with the thump thump they do in all these trailers now.
Well, now it's the ticking clock now that everybody uses.
Well, the goal is to generate tension.
I think I talked with and Script Doctor can, if when he watches this on replay, can kind of confirm. I think there's like only a few trailer makers in Hollywood. Like, you think that the reason all these trailers kind of look the same is there's like 6 or 7 companies that make trailers.
I don't think it's that there's only a few trailer makers in Hollywood. I think it's that there's only a few ideas in Hollywood.
Yeah.
You could probably do every trailer with AI at this point.
Yeah.
Now that Mads mentioned the ticking clock thing, I'll never stop hearing it in trailers.
Yeah, I think that one was in Ungentlemanly Warfare, where you also the other one that's really big is you take a 70s rock song and start mixing it in. This was the Guardians of the Galaxy trailer style.
Well, that's what they're doing on this one.
That's what they're doing here, yeah, with that big thumping drum thing that they do.
Yeah, but I'm talking more. They do it more peppy.
Beat, whether it be the drum or the ticking of the clock or everything else, it builds up to a point, then it stops, then you kick in with the hardcore action.
Now, Davina says, I would respect a trailer more that uses original footage that's not in the film. Studios have gotten sued for that. There's been people
advertising.
For false advertising. This came up a lot with, I think, the Avengers.
It was one with, it was a movie that Anna de Armas was in the trailer, but she was not in the final cut of the movie at all.
That would have annoyed me, yes.
Yeah, and it was, people have sued, and and the studios have had to go to, like, they tried to get it dismissed, and the judges will let it go through because people are like, I spent money on seeing this movie on the promise that this person was in it, and they weren't. So there's the laws on each state. It varies, but a lot of states have very specific false advertising rules that are good ways to go against companies. In fact, that's how in Connecticut they sued gun manufacturers post Sandy Hook. And there's a law in the United States that's the Protection of Lawful Commerce Act, which basically says that a product the makers of a product cannot be sued because of the product working as intended if it was used for an illegal act by somebody. And it was specifically to protect gun manufacturers because people were talking about suing gun makers because of the acts of criminals. And so Connecticut got around that by saying they sued them based on the false advertising protections in Connecticut, saying that gun manufacturers advertise guns in a way that was bullshit. But that's how they used it to get.
That's like saying you can sue Ford because somebody was drunk driving.
Well, yeah, no, that's what the lawful protection of commerce keeps that from happening. What instead they would have said is, we saw there was, they would sue the Ford company because, like, in the commercial, you had a driver with a really hot chick because he was driving this car, and I didn't have a hot chick after I bought this car, so I'm suing you. That would be how they would. But
you're way uglier than the guy who was in the commercial.
That would be the defense. It's
the Ana de Armas movie was in 2022. It was a movie called Yesterday, where she prominently featured in the trailers, and then was not in the movie at all.
I really like that movie. Yeah, that's the one where he gets transported to the other world where the Beatles didn't exist, and
it was settled this year.
Yeah, but I do really like that movie. It has one of my Lily James. I'm a big fan. I think she's awesome, and she's made not the best choices for her movies. But Yesterday was a good one, and I found it charming, especially who was the redheaded singer, pop singer. He's a ginger. He was in Game of Thrones. Ed Sheeran. Yeah. So Ed Sheeran, like in that movie, he's like, they're doing like a sing off, like, hey, make up the best song on the spot. And so he's making up an actual song, and then the other dude who's the lead breaks out, I think, because they were playing in Russia back in the USSR. And he's like, you just made that up on your dude. I can't compete. Like, you win. Like, how did you just make that up right here? That's amazing. And he's like, I just did. Yeah. I'm sure 70s like that movie too.
It was pretty good. Yeah, it was.
I love the part where he couldn't remember all the lyrics, and he's like, fuck, what were the lyrics?
I got to write them. Yeah.
And they made him change the name of the White Album because they were like, it's kind of racist. And he's like, okay, I guess.
Well, if you called it the Black Album, that would have interfered with Metallica then.
Yeah.
This does look quite good, though.
I mean, yeah, looks interesting.
I'd stream that.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that would be that. I mean, A24 makes interesting movies. It does. I mean, I think Hugh Grant is actually really good as a villain. So I'm happy that
the older he gets, the better he gets.
Yeah.
See, the one under it is the kind of thing I'd watch. Weekend in Taipei. It's action
by movie. Ketchup Entertainment.
Luke Evans action movie by the maker of Spy Kids 4.
I would prefer Mustard Entertainment because I'm more of a Mustard guy.
It's a Luc Besson written thing. It's Luc Besson, so it looks pretty good. I've watched the trailer. It's action.
I want Soul Assassin. I want to see a movie with the plot with the one guy from Hot Tub Time Machine who took over Motley Crue. Yeah, Motley Lou.
Yeah, Lou.
That is still my favorite. Did I take advantage of, with my knowledge of the future for personal gain? Yes. Did I? Is that maybe morally and ethically wrong? Probably. Do I
look
care?
it up on Loogle?
No.
On Loogle.
Yeah. Hey, what's the site you use when you want to get directions or do this or find porn? Google. The best part of that movie is just waiting for the dude's arm to get cut off.
Yes.
Because everybody likes to think we're these fine, upstanding humans, but just like the guys in that movie, anytime an event looks like it was about to happen, I would stop. I would be just like them. Like, is it now? Is it now? This is when it's going to happen? No.
Is this the moment?
Is this the moment? Plus, it was Sebastian Stan's best performance as the head of the ski patrol.
Yeah.
It's like Chernobyl, they're Russian spies. He had the Red Dawn poster up in his. All right, all limited. Dragon
What?
Ball Daima. That's I don't even know. Imp, do you know which version of Dragon Ball that is going to be a movie for?
Yeah, what fucking? I've never even heard of that one.
Who to what now? Oh,
Dragon Ball
Daima.
Daima.
That's the new series that's running now.
Is that the one where they got changed into like first graders?
Yeah, they did the whole turning them into kids again.
Hasn't that made a shit ton of money already globally?
Dragon Ball Muppet Babies.
Dragon Ball has been making money
the
since.
Daima one though. I think it's.
Oh, I'm sure. It's...
Well, Toriyama did have a hand in it, so a lot of people are taking it as at least giving it a
His final
shot.
send off.
Yeah.
I mean, what was the one that came? The last one that I thought got really good reviews was not Broly. That was like a weird standalone movie. It made money, but I don't think you.
I
What was
like
the
Dragon Ball
series?
Super.
I think Super. Yeah, Super was the last one I know was like legit beloved.
I wouldn't necessarily say beloved. People
Beloved?
like it.
Nah, Dragon Ball Z is where
Beloved.
like once they went to GT, they lost a lot of people.
Well, GT
Super, I
wasn't
think,
even
brought
done
it
by
back.
Toriyama.
No, GT was terrible.
Oh, I'm getting mixed up. It was the last Demon Slayer that's made a lot of money already.
Well, Daima's going to have the same, I think the same animation director as Super did.
Yeah, but from what I've heard, it's already more dynamic, and it's also not just the Goku and Vegeta show.
Yeah, but I
Which-
like Goku and Vegeta. I'm fine
So
with
do
it
most
being-
people, but that was the biggest complaint about Super as well as GT. Is that it started off utilizing the secondary characters, and then by the end of the show, they'd only focused on those two.
All right, so here you go, Slender. November 8th. Apparently, this is the one that I'm going to have to drag you out of the house to go see.
Yes. You're not gonna have to drag me out, dude. I'm gonna be calling you and be like, "Why aren't we going to this? Are we going to this? Well, I'm ready to go to this. Let's go."
So that's actually next weekend.
Get Overlord.
So we'll have to go see that one. Overlord is a great anime. Love it. Yamcha will still be the butt of the jokes and lose the chick. Probably. That's
Well,
how
yeah.
it goes.
I mean,
Hey, they're showing that Overlord-
let's see.
that Overlord
Next,
movie's going to be
Is
on
that the one where the game shuts down and he's stuck in it? Like
Yeah.
Overlord?
They were
Yeah.
actually closing the game down, and now he's
Yeah.
in charge of like a castle or something.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's like 18 other animes now too.
Yeah.
But
Right,
this,
but it's
this
it's
one-
literally like the servers
Yeah.
are shutting down. And he
Yep.
had a guild, and he
Yep.
was the guild master, but he just doesn't exit when it shuts down.
he gets transport. Like when it goes offline, he just suddenly wakes up and he's in the world, like the game world.
Then he has to go get all of the like the level bosses to pledge fealty to him again or something like that.
Yeah, he
That,
realizes
like the first
that,
5
yeah.
episodes.
Yeah, their guild was based in a dungeon that they like their guild hall. They made it into a dungeon style floors with floor bosses, and each of
Right.
the guild members created floor bosses. And his floor boss looks like a certain German dictator.
oh, his boss is funny.
And he, it's crazy. But that's the Japanese make jokes about that. It's funny, but so it's a fun show. It's really entertaining if you like that. This last season was off the charts great. I mean, especially the end. I didn't see a twist coming, and when it got done, I was like,
Saw
"Fuck."
that shit from a mile away.
Yeah. So I thought it was well executed, and so I'm not going to spoil it because it was
The
that
game
good.
is within a game.
Yeah.
That
I
has
mean,
to be the
he's
twist.
no. The twist is, I mean, he's overpowered, and he's living in the world. So he was like to be a guild boss, he was like, it would be like you played World of Warcraft and you were the highest level after playing it for
You
2
were
decades.
Asmongold.
Yeah. Before he canceled himself. Yeah.
No,
Red
he's
1.
back.
What is what's Red 1? Looks like Amazon 2024. That one is so Red 1, that's the one with the Santa with
it's The Rock.
Chris Evans and
Yeah,
The
it's a
Rock
Christmas movie.
playing The Rock like he always does. And they've got J.K. Simmons playing Jack Santa.
Wait, is Yamcha the second strongest human? I thought the
Yep.
first was Krillin and then
It
Master
is.
Roshi.
Coming in lore right now, it's Yamcha, believe it or not.
Yamcha beats out Master Roshi? Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yep. Because they don't
How
show
many
it in any.
sensu beans or whatever they talk about?
Well, that's
doesn't
just it. If the manga deviates a little bit from what we got in the anime series, and this whole time he's still training, just like Tien.
Okay.
Him and Tien are pretty much tied for second strongest,
Gotcha.
or
Gotcha.
Yamcha's third, but barely by a little. Like I think the last power level in the manga they gave him was like 2 million. Believe it or not.
That's over 9,000.
Yeah, very over 9,000.
They're all well over 9,000 at the
You know, Dragon
Over
Ball
9,000.
Z might be the best show about like power creep.
I mean,
Like,
shonen is just power creep the genre.
You go back in the famous quote with like Vegeta going crazy. It's over 9,000 now. It's like, oh, Yamcha's 2 million.
Well, that was also
Okay.
part of the whole story at the time. Is all the Earth fighters, part of their technique was hiding their power levels.
Yeah.
So like they
Well,
read
the other thing
Goku as a
about it-
weakling, and then he started powering up during the fight, and they're like, what?
Yeah, and the other thing about it was the whole point of the Scouters is that power levels didn't mean anything.
Well,
Pretty
Like
much.
they pushed that, especially like once they started unlocking Kaioken. Like
Yeah.
Kaioken throws power levels out the window because you can basically like increase your power 50 times over for a limited period of time at the expenditure of massive amounts of energy. There's all sorts of crazy shit. I actually played the tabletop RPG version of Dragon Ball, and like you could do so much crazy shit with your characters. Power levels mean nothing.
Your power levels mean nothing to me, old man.
Pretty much.
So what do we what's our thoughts on Red 1? Do we think let me
I don't
get
know.
a-
It looked kind of funny. I watched the trailer for it.
let me bring up
Don't know
this
anything
is
about
the
it.
this
Don't
is
know,
the
haven't seen
character
it.
designs. So the concept is J.K. Simmons, Jack Santa, gets kidnapped by some rogue group. The Rock is the
I
head
actually
of
thought
the
this looked interesting. I kind
Yeah.
of wanted
Yeah.
to see this.
yeah, the Rock is the head of the North Pole Security Division.
Of course he is.
And Chris Evans is, I guess, the best lost person finder in the world. So they recruit him to help find Santa.
Yeah, this sounds good. I want to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I just think I just really miss when The Rock was trying to play different roles. It was nice. He's moved into just playing The Rock for the last 20 years, and it's kind of sad. Doesn't do any.
I mean, he can stay in his lane. I'm okay with that.
Well, Jake Kasdan's the director, and he's not that bad. Jacob Kasdan, he's done some good stuff. Dewey Cox, Walk Hard, that was quite good. Bad
yeah.
Teacher.
Yep.
So it could be okay.
Soul Assassin says we need to start doing an anime centric Ascendant anime. Mike, I actually have an anime channel on ready to go that we're gonna do. Just like Slender kind of runs Ascendant Arcade, I have one that I'm gonna eventually get around to doing anime content on, but haven't quite got there yet. So, yeah, a Red 1, I think probably it's sitting in, it's kind of trying to slot into that family friendly action comedy, the Jumanji slot.
Yeah, and he did
So,
Jumanji as well.
yeah, they just, by the way, signed on to Jumanji 3.
It could be this year's Violent Night. Like,
Violent Night
for
didn't
it.
make a lot of money, but yeah, Violent Night was
I
great.
like Violent
I
Night.
love Violent Night. Yeah, I really liked
Watch
it.
it
Did you
every
guys?
year.
Did you guys watch that one?
I've seen
Yeah, I've seen it.
Nope.
I thought it was a. I mean, what's his name? The guy who played Santa Claus from Stranger Things.
David Harbour.
David Harbour, yeah. He was I think he was well cast because he really projects, and this is again being typecast, the downtrodden, like kind of unhappy schlub middle-aged guy.
He does a very good job of that.
That's like his wheelhouse. If he was a batter, that would be his like 410 zone in the strike zone, where you throw it there, he's knocking it out of the park. So it was well cast for that. It's a good movie. It's definitely a gore hard R. You're gonna see.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna see a lot of blood, and if
Not
you're
for little kids.
yeah, so
What,
don't
in red one.
no in
Oh,
Violent Night. Yeah, red
Kinda
one.
like
I would
Santa
imagine.
Sleigh
Yeah.
with Goldberg.
Oh no, did they make that?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like 10 years ago.
Oh,
Yeah,
They
I
made
vaguely
Goldberg
remember
Santa,
that.
and he goes and like slaughters a whole bunch of people in a strip club and just goes on a killing spree.
Did he walk out in the strip club with like fireworks going off as he's doing his
Likely.
entrance?
I don't
And
remember it that well, but
All the
likely.
strippers were just going Goldberg.
Dun, dun,
All right.
dun,
Yeah,
dun, dun.
I said raise your hands if you went to a Nitro and saw that live. I would have to raise my hand because I did.
I had multiple shirts.
Yeah, I had.
Oh,
I also
God.
went to fucking Starrcade in DC, man. It was awesome. That was back at like peak Monday Night Wars when WCW was like really good. So Goldberg had two moves. The only person,
The spear and the jackhammer.
yeah,
He
I
also
thought
had
like,
that mule kick.
eventually, at the start, he did two things where he wouldn't hurt somebody. One was the spear, and one was the jack.
Yep.
And everything else
Allegedly didn't hurt anybody that we know.
allegedly. So it was that was the thing. Goldberg was not a real, like, a guy who grew up in wrestling, and so he would
was a monster.
constantly hurt people because he couldn't do the moves right. So they had to limit him. And then I was like, okay, there's never going to be another guy like Goldberg who can't wrestle that gets big. And then Roman Reigns came on the scene. And I was like, oh, he can do they gave him the Superman punch, which was even less of a move than the spear.
Right?
Except they gave him the spear too.
I thought Rhino had a good spear.
He did.
Goldberg's spear looked violent. I liked it.
I love
was.
Goldberg because Bret Hart hates him. Bret Hart, the man of 1,000 moves.
I hate Bret Hart, so it did not bother me. What
Was
happened.
he's the best there was, the best there
is, and the best
the
there
best
will
there
be.
ever will be. Oh man, my brother caught one of his. He went to a WWF at the time event and got like caught the Bret Hart glasses when he threw them, and it was like he would not stop wearing those things. It was, I was like,
how could you?
No, well, when I put him into a figure four, he took them all. I was like, stop wearing them, you little. Like if you're gonna be Bret Hart, you better learn the moves. It's like you got to do this. It was wrestling was great, by the way. The first time when you're playing with your brothers and you actually do the wrestling moves and they really hurt them, you're like, shit, these things do hurt somebody if you do them. Damn.
You can't tell me it's fake. Look what I did to my siblings.
Yeah, it's like you're telling me it's like you tell me the ball. This is all fake, but when I put him in the figure four leg lock, this guy was not happy. Oh,
there was a time in high school when we would use the sleeper on each other for fun,
and then start tapping, tap.
No, we'd put him to sleep.
Oh, the only sad part was Brahma couldn't do the barber match like Brutus the Barber Beefcake because Brahma's always been that way. No
what was the
hair.
dude? The dude that was supposed to jump through a wall, but he fell and his helmet came
Oh,
off.
the
and shit?
Shockmaster.
Shockmaster.
That was
He's
his
also
favorite.
Tugboat in the WWF.
The Shockmaster. All right. Granted, he failed when he tripped, but the design of that stupid ass costume was so bad. I don't understand.
Stormtrooper mask sprayed in glitter.
Yeah, I was like, who is? He was like, if you're gonna do that, you better lean into at least the WWF when they did it leaned into the Goldust is gay, so no one wants to be in the ring with him because they're worried he's actually feeling them up.
Well,
fair,
you ever
he
hear the
was one of the
story
roads,
behind
he
this whole
was.
Shockmaster thing? So earlier in the day, well, one, it wasn't even his voice. They had Ole Anderson do the voice. And then during the day, they're like, okay, you're going to come through this wall. It was real sheetrock. It wasn't like they gimmicked it up or anything. Okay, no problem. But before they started recording, someone came along and put a 2x4 at the base of it.
Yeah.
So
That's
he came
true.
along and like, okay, I'm just going to walk through this. His foot caught and he just fell through it. And the even better part is if you listen carefully enough, you can hear British Bulldog start laughing and go, he fell on his fucking arse.
Oh, I know I've probably, since we're talking about wrestling, the one anime I know Mad as a weebologist doesn't actually watch anime to be a weebologist.
It's about the culture.
But
It's the study of the weeb.
But there is, I'm telling you, there's one, if you're gonna watch one, I've got the one that is right for you.
I doubt
I've
it.
talked about it before.
But I've heard this many, many times.
Yeah, but let me see. It's a wrestling anime.
Tiger Mask?
Oh, he
Kinnikuman.
Oh, Kinnikuman, yeah. Well, there's also Tiger Mask, which was based on
All right,
a real wrestler.
you're gonna. So this guy he's talking to with the stars on his shoulder, Mad, is named Terrymon because he's based on Terry Funk, and he's so he's supposed to be from Texas, and he's. It's just hilarious.
Only wrestles in hardcore matches.
Yeah, so they basically like all these guys. They do moves based on real wrestling moves, and it's such a heightened thing where in this anime they decided that wrestlers are actually like superheroes and they wrestle aliens and other intergalactic wrestlers for the fate of the planet instead of fighting. It's hilarious.
So it's Mortal Kombat.
It's Mortal Kombat, but with like traditional wrestling. Like, so they have a guy from England named Robin Mask who's like wears a knight helmet. They have like this guy who's Buffalo Man. And the names are exactly what you'd think. Like if he's a guy who looks like a buffalo with horns, he's Buffalo Man. There's a dude who looks like a living spring. He's Spring Man. It's like they don't even try to make
It's
a
Mega Man characters.
They have a Chinese
Sounds like it.
wrestler. They have a Chinese wrestler, and so his name is Ramen Man.
Oh, I was thinking his name would be China Man. No, you kind of misled me on that.
It's funny, but the Terrymon thing always got me
That is
funny.
not
Like,
the preferred nomenclature.
If you want to see something funny wrestling wise, go watch when
Asian American
Stan Hansen used to go out when he was wrestling in Japan. When Stan Hansen would come out, he would terrorize the fans. He would come out swinging a bull rope with a cowbell attached to it at the fans and actually clock him in the head with it.
yeah.
So
So Source
because
asked
he
me-
was half blind.
Yeah, the show you're talking about is actually Ultimate Muscle: The Next Generation, where it's supposed to be their kids. So yeah, when I was in Japan, this show was this one actually was one of the first Shonen Jump really successful mangas, and it like introduced a lot of the tropes and concepts, like where you beat the villain, and then you because of the mutual respect you develop from fighting, they become your buddy. Everything in Dragon Ball came out of Kinnikuman. Like all of those things that you think are Dragon Ball tropes were actually Kinnikuman ones that they were using.
It had a NES game, didn't it?
Yeah,
it was terrible.
Yeah, I mean, I think that one was terrible, and then I think they eventually did for Ultimate Muscles, the which was the sequel series. They did one because that was around the early 2000s. They had games for that too.
There's also another wrestling anime too. If you go, it's even older than Kinnikuman, but Tiger Mask.
Nice.
And they also did a more updated one called Tiger Mask W. And the even scarier part is the one wrestler, Jushin Thunder Liger, is based around an anime that was a mecha anime. So go figure on that one.
But how many of them have a character based on Chris Benoit?
Yeah.
Well, if you find anything called the Pegasus Kid, that'd be your answer because that was his name in Japan.
Ooh, all right. Well, we'll have to. That'll be a thing to look out for. Eric asks, are there box office numbers for the UFC releases? Yes, they will earn box office for their special engagements where they're playing them in theaters.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That Elton John movie, is it called Never Too Straight?
Never Too Late.
Oh, sorry.
That's if you see in print, so in parentheses it says Oscar qualifying run. To qualify for the Academy Awards, you have to be in a theater for at least 3 show times in a weekend in 2 cities or more.
Jesus.
So what that means is it'll probably play in New York and LA in an art house theater to get its minimum qualifying release and then get, submitted for Academy Awards. I don't know what they're gonna submit it for to win. What the heck was that?
Yeah, what was that?
Scrolling past something on Twitter, and that's the Friday Bob off.
Oh, so Fifth Element's being re-released November 17th. I think it did come out in November when it first got released, or it was a fall release, like in the late 90s. I took my little brother to see it. I did not realize that they were going to have nudity in that movie. I was like, no, Mom, I'm just going to take him. This movie looks fun. It looks like a space action comedy. And then after the movie, I was like, do not tell Mom that you saw boobs. Do not rat me out, or you're never going to be able to go see another movie.
Or another boob.
And he's like, okay, no, I won't say a thing.
But can we watch it again tomorrow?
Yeah. I mean, it's not like Mila Jovovich didn't have a ton there, obviously. It wasn't, I don't think it was going to be a lasting impression, but I was like, just don't mention it to Mom. Because as we talked about in Mad Nose from our shared experience, 80s moms were like, you can watch all the violence you want, but if I hear that you saw boobs, you're in trouble.
Yep, I can attest to that. My parents rented Beverly Hills Cop 2.
Oh, the strip club scenes.
Yeah, and violence, no problem. I grew up watching shit like Conan. No big deal. Language, it was what it was. But
so obviously in Conan, your mom was like, don't watch the witch scene.
And then, we're watching that movie and my mom was a little like, oh, this movie's a little bluer than I thought. And then we get to that scene. She's like, I didn't know this was going to be in it. Your uncles didn't say anything about this. I'm thinking to myself, Mom, they're adults.
Your uncle, how weird is it if your uncle's first conversation with your mom about the movie was, man, there were some great boobs, there were some great tits.
Hey, this movie's got tits in it. It's great.
Also, bear in mind, though, my parents were the type to drag me and my sister to go see like The Secret of Nim when we were like 6.
That movie is great for scarring you.
Yeah.
When I was in like 7th or 8th grade, my dad decided to get me a couple movies that he really liked on DVD for Christmas. And one of them was Valley Girl, but apparently he had only seen Valley Girl on the TV edit.
Oh.
So, yeah, we all sit down to watch it. The whole family, my little sisters, me, my mom, my dad. Yeah. Then we get to the few tit scenes, and my mom's just looking at him like, what the hell?
Just like, your dad's like, I'm going to get little Brahma just one of the guys. He's going to wear out that last 10 minutes freeze framing it. It's fine.
Right.
It was too late by that time. You were scarred for life.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, yeah. I think I've told this story before, and it's hilarious to me. I had only ever seen Grease on TV. My mom loved Grease. The 20th anniversary re-release, I was working at the theater, so it was free tickets. It was 1998. I was like, all right, Mom, I'm taking you to go see Grease. I know it's one of your favorite movies. They get to the Grease Lightning song, and I'm like, what the fuck are these lines? I do not want to, what it was like. I was like, the man, the chicks, I was like, oh my God. Like, it was like, these lines were, I swear, Mom, I didn't know. Like, it's awkward because it's a very focused line too. Like, they go close up on Travolta as he's dancing, doing it. I was like, oh no. Can I get the TV edit, please? Can I please get the TV?
Yeah, the thing on Valley Girl, I think, too, was it was Elizabeth Daily whose tits you see, who is the chick that played Dottie in Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh,
So
now that
lots
movie's
of us already had crushes on Dottie from Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
and when Brahma, they're like, Brahma, do you want to go see your boobs? No, I lived it. I'm good. So November 22nd, it looks like the first weekend where this is the right before Thanksgiving weekend. So this is the Friday before Thanksgiving, and we're getting Gladiator 2 and Wicked the same weekend. And that's probably not a problem because the audiences for Gladiator 2 and Wicked are going to be very different. Who wants to? Does anybody really want to see Gladiator 2? I know the second
kinda
trailer,
do.
the second trailer has helped sell me on it more because they got rid of the rap, and they gave me fucking Denzel's awesome. I guess I got more Denzel. It's like he's interesting. I want to see where he's going. Is he trying to take over the empire? What's up?
I'm sure I'll be forced to watch it, but I don't really care to watch it.
Did you watch the second trailer versus the first?
No, I don't think so.
Because the first trailer didn't do any help. It didn't help. I hate. Don't mix hip hop music into like Gladiator. It's not.
I just
work.
think it would have been better if they had not tried to connect it to Gladiator.
Keep
just
hip
make
hop
it a Gladiator movie without it being Gladiator.
Oh, you're right. But keep hip hop where it belongs in Japanese video games.
I don't want to be too hard on Eric, but Russell Crowe's not in it. he's not in it. Denzel is, but Russell Crowe's not.
He could be in an urn somewhere.
Yeah, he might. His
An
ashes
ashtray.
it's like a brim full of asher.
Full of asher. God, I haven't thought of that record for years. I'll never get that out of my head now.
Now it's going to be stuck in your head.
That's
now
right, it's stuck in my head already.
Just that one lyric
Just that
on a
one
loop.
line, which was the only line in it, really.
They had Kid Rock songs in the ads for the first Gladiator. No, I mean that doesn't make it better.
I will not go to the cinema to see Gladiator 2, but I'm sure I'll see it eventually.
Oh yeah, I mean it'll be there. Now
Wicked, no
Wicked,
way, no.
Wicked's been. I know Midnight's Edge has been covering it.
Never.
Whatever. What? How do you pronounce her name? Ariba.
Fuckwit. No, I can't remember. The other one, not
Ego
the
too
Ariana
large?
Grande. The other one.
Cynthia Erivo. Cynthia Erivo. She stepped in it royally to where some fans did a fan edit of the poster to look like the actual original Broadway poster, which is fairly famous. It's a pretty famous poster, and she went.
It was the most
nuts.
heinous thing since the Holocaust.
But her tweet was so over the top too.
Yeah, she was raised.
What was it? She said this is the equivalent of asking if if they painted my P word green.
Yeah, they've
And I'm
erased me. They've erased me.
It was like she went nuclear on the lamest little fan made poster promoting your movie. What is she going?
She was waiting to see what she could jump in on and make it about her and about race.
It's a charm-free zone.
Yeah. So, Eric is asking. Wait, what? We glossed over the Angel Studios. What is this about a pastor assassin? Oh, I just.
Oh yeah, what is that?
Gone for pastor spy assassin.
B-A-B-O-E.
Bonhoeffer.
Brahma, you follow Angel Studios. Have you heard of that one?
Nope.
There's
a
a
new one to me.
series of these. There's more than one.
I got nothing.
There's apparently more than one of them.
Oh, you know what? I
German
saw
or
the trailer
Danish?
for this.
Danish?
I actually, all right. I didn't even. The title didn't recognize. I saw the trailer. I forget what. I think it was on Reagan. Yeah, they had this trailer on Reagan. Big surprise they would. And it actually looked really interesting, but the title's a problem. That didn't stick with me at all. It looked interesting. It looks like he's in World War II era Germany, and he's actually standing up for principle.
It's a plot to take out the mustachioed German.
Yeah, and he's also helping the other people being persecuted.
Well, the
So-
writer is quite good. I mean, he did Sully was a good movie. He wrote that. He wrote The Professor and the Madman, which was a good movie. Mel Gibson. So he's a good writer. But I mean, it's ground that's been covered so often in movies. What new has it got to say? You know.
Right. So
Well, it says that he has to choose between his upholding his moral convictions or risking it all to save millions of Jews. So they're going to
Alright.
go at it, since it's Angel Studios, they're going to go at it from a
Oh,
more.
I get it right. Yeah.
so this is the trailer.
Something's coming. Something unstoppable.
Look around you, my friend. How much light do you see?
What is this?
So this is the pop song we're going for with this one.
Yeah, we're
It's
going
the
with the
Sound of
version
Silence.
of Sound of
It's
Silence.
interesting that all the
So-
actors are foreign, but it's in English, and it's not.
I mean,
dubbed.
Angels. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if Angel Studios acquired this one or if they actually directly produced it.
It seems to be being acted in English, even though
Yeah.
they are all foreign actors.
So, Matt, this is Angel Studios' big fall release that we're looking the trailer out for.
Mm.
I've come to talk with you again because a vision softly left its seat.
So, by the way, this is a trope of World War II movies.
Hmm.
If you see them going to an underground jazz club and partying with the,
Certain
with all
actor
the people, that's basically your clue that they are a righteous person who is going to have a problem with, with the racist policies that are going to be enacted by the government.
It looks like
I don't know
it's
why
being-
they always do. Go ahead.
It looks like it's being distributed by Angel Studios in the United States, but it's made by Crow's Nest Productions.
So it was probably a European production, and
And
they
guy
picked it
walks
up.
into a bar productions. There's a few production companies attached to it.
Yeah, Europe, they have tons of
But
them.
there's actually a second movie already, and in fact, there might have been earlier versions of this when you look it up. So it's been around.
Well, it's
the
a
character
I
has
think-
been around. For
I think it's a real person.
Okay.
This is
Yeah.
it's a biopic type thing. So
Right.
they've probably done movies about him in the past.
Yep.
Hate comes in every color.
Love's gonna break him out of that prison.
Oh, they've got a documentary next year about the actual real person. That's what it is.
We have devised a plot to assassinate the Führer.
Yeah, it's kind of like Johnny Cash's version of Hurt is overtaken. Nine Inch Nails is the better version.
He's afraid that a bomb traced to England would mean invasion or worse.
Invasion. Invasion. My country was invaded from within.
I mean, it has been covered in dozens, thousands, hundreds of movies over the years.
Yeah.
Uh,
I don't know.
yeah.
So I've always thought that World War II has become the movie obsession
Yes.
because it's one of the only wars where you just have a genuine like evil versus good
Mhm.
narrative that you can do.
Mm-hmm.
Even World War One, it gets very complicated
can't
about
do
who was right and wrong and why the things started the way they did. So there's two wars that become righteous wars that you just constantly will forever see movies of. In America, it's the Civil War. We see Civil War movies all the time, but we don't see Revolutionary, but we see Civil War movies all the time. Because it's a righteous war, right? You have the right
Cliche, total
yeah,
cliche.
and then World War II. We're gonna always get World War II because you don't have to worry. Nobody on Earth, I shouldn't say nobody. Nobody legitimate will ever argue like that the Yazis were good people who should have won. Like so you get it's why Indiana Jones constantly went back to having Nazis as the bad guys, because Indiana Jones, you put a guy in a Nazi uniform and you punch him, people are okay with it. You don't have to do any backstory. You don't have to give him any reason. You just let him do it and everybody's okay with it.
as Eric Meyer says, until we get something accurate in Stalin, well, they don't want to do that one, do they?
Yeah. You'd have to go into the fact that the United
100
States
million.
ceded the entire chunk of Eastern Europe to Stalin.
100 million people or more dead under Stalin. But yeah, not too many movies about that. Mr. Jones was one that was quite good 5 years ago. That was a good movie. But yeah, they don't touch that one. That's that was nothing.
We got that.
So you don't have to pick sides. They were both bad.
I'm really only stopping as much as I am so we don't get claimed for the Disturbed
Yeah,
song.
this is
Because this trailer is mostly just the Disturbed song.
I mean,
doing the
you could
heavy
probably
lifting.
just play it mute.
Yeah, that's true. We've got the subtitles.
I mean, we're seeing what's going on.
And this is, so I just don't. Angel Studios does good work. I think they're better doing original productions even than picking up this one. I get why this fits in their zone. Hopefully they didn't have to spend too much on American distribution, because I don't think this is going to be a big hit. It just isn't going to probably. I don't see it being something that makes a lot of money for them.
And it's 4 different distribution companies over the world, but yeah, they're just doing it solely in America.
Yeah, so that's the way a lot of American studios will do the same thing. They sell foreign rights to their movies, and that's how they cover the cost of the
Sound
budget.
of Freedom. That's what they did, isn't it?
Yeah, they have the American right, and they covered the cost, like with what they got from the foreign distribution. They covered the budget already and made them, so they were already in the black before they had that mega hit come out of the US.
Well, they were already in the black just from the American stuff, or the American sales before you got it overseas, because remember, they just bought the movie from Disney, the distribution rights. They didn't do any of the production.
Yeah. All right, so then we've got a whole bunch of other limited things that are probably
Armor. That's Stallone. That's a Stallone movie.
Lionsgate has been bombing so much that I just I don't think that's going to be the one. That one, if it's being limited, is probably they're probably honoring a contractual agreement before they can put it on a streaming service and just do that.
What was that
let's
last
see.
Stallone movie? Because it was not that great.
The one that
where
was on the streaming
he was
service?
like the retired. I think it was on a streaming service, but he was like
Yeah.
the retired superhero.
Oh yeah, I don't remember what it was called.
And it turned out that he wasn't the superhero; that he was the villain.
Right. Yeah, it was not very good.
But it was, I mean, and people who think I might have just spoiled something, if you're paying attention, they telegraphed that 5 minutes into the movie that he was not the original hero. He was the gonna be the bad guy.
But he has been on a roll with Tulsa King.
Tulsa King is doing numbers, man. It's doing well. I haven't watched. I'm waiting to binge. All right, I liked the first season pretty good, but I don't like. I've decided I just don't like watching these things weekly. I just want to, because they film them, so they're designed.
Even though we tell them don't release them all at once, you still prefer to watch them all.
Samaritan. Yeah. Well, here's my problem, Brahma. If they're gonna do it on a weekly schedule, they need to fucking learn how to do weekly television. Because weekly television is designed to have mostly standalone episodes that aren't just continuous narrative to the next step. Like, you know what I mean? They're not. These shows are basically 10-hour movies that have a moving one single plot. And so they work better in binge in terms of your viewing experience. I don't like, if I'm watching NCIS or some of these other ones, weekly release, you watch it, and if they're doing something for an overarching season-long storyline, in the last 10 minutes, they might have one thing about it to help move that part of the story forward, and it's not the biggest deal if you miss it. That they're not doing that. They're making these things just one narrative, and they split it up into 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 episodes. So I'm going to watch it.
But that was the TV model for a while.
No, the TV model
your
was
appointment
always
TV. I mean, Game of Thrones was that. It was a story that was told 1 week at a time.
Game of Thrones
lots
was
of
also
stuff like that has been that. Not the procedurals, no, but
No,
anything
but-
that had a. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say that's new. That was, I mean, it was a new concept to do even that on like even on dramas, like shows like The West Wing or the ER dramatic ones. They still had weekly kind of standalone episodes that you could drop in and out of. Game of Thrones was around 2010, and it was also after this Netflix had started and some of the streaming stuff had started. So it was at the basically the changeover when they started doing that. They also changed it to only being 7, 8, 9 episodes long for a season. Like any show that's
Shifty brings up a good one. 24.
24 had an ongoing plot for 24 episodes. Yeah. And
What,
it's
6 seasons,
and,
8, 7 seasons.
And I'm going to tell you, 24 was hurt by the fact that people didn't think they could jump in. Right. You know, like, so it didn't work. If you go back,
We had
24's
TiVos
ratings
at that time, though.
Yeah, 24's ratings were not as strong as other shows because if you didn't get in, you felt like you couldn't get in, like to watch it. So I think it got hurt by that. I remember that's actually.
I don't know. I kind of miss appointment television.
I understand why it's great for like YouTubers like us who do shows to have like weekly content and not just have a binge show. Because if you binge it, it's done within a day or two, and then you do. I'm just talking from a viewer's experience. If they, the way they design these shows work better watching them in as a group instead of single standalone episodes. Mad, you watch,
but is
a
that
lot
because
of
we've
shows.
gotten used to that? Because nothing used to do that. I think we've gotten used to it, so we like it that way now. But we used to like waiting to see what happened next week. You may have wanted the next episode immediately, but there was something, about actually thinking about the episode you had just watched or actually rewatching that episode. I mean, that's how we used to do things before we got streaming services where we could just binge watch everything. I kind of miss that.
What do you think, Mad? You watch stuff.
I can go either way.
Binge or-
I understand what he's saying about missing that appointment TV thing, but
Getting on message boards and talking about the episode.
I also like being able to watch the shit.
So do I. I mean, I don't disagree with Chad that it may be the better way to watch it, but it also wasn't the norm until more recently. I mean, you may be right on TV not having the norm of being a, basically a 10-hour movie, but that was how we watched things. We watched it week to week.
Yeah.
The appointment television, like a show like ER is a great example. It's a drama with ongoing story arcs, but it's mainly single standalone episodes. And it was huge for like 10 years. It was appointment television, Thursday night must-see TV on NBC. They moved stuff so incrementally that it did, like you could drop in and out and not feel like you were going to be behind. Once you get into the appointment, like to these streaming shows that are only, again, there's only 8 episodes. And so you feel like if you miss something, you're behind, and then it just snowballs. And by the way, I just realized this. I thought back to 24. You remember what they did at the beginning of every single 24 episode, which was fairly new? They had to add a recap to make sure people didn't feel like they were left out. Of
Most
what
serialized
was going on.
shows ended up doing that. Battlestar Galactica, Lost, 24. That was your catch up.
Yeah, and serialized shows were a new I remember Deep Space Nine was when it was like super widely hailed for being that one, and Babylon 5 for being super serialized.
Yeah,
with ongoing storylines.
And the thing with Babylon 5 was I watched it sporadically, but I was able to come in and still like an episode without knowing the overarching story constantly.
Because
I didn't know
Babylon
the
5
overarching story until later when I rewatched the whole series all at once.
Yeah, Farscape was another one, because just like Babylon 5, Farscape had a lot of episodes that were standalone-ish, where they would only have a couple minutes about the story that was overarching, and so you could go in and out. Oh, I guess here we go. We have the Solomon solution. Both Brahma and Chad are correct because it depends on if a show is serialized or not.
Yeah, and I'm not disagreeing with that. I said I miss it being that way. It doesn't mean that it is a better way to watch it. I just think we had a little bit more fun with our shows when we did watch them that way.
No, I'll grant you that.
Because Cobra Kai comes out, we're done with it 2 days later. You know, the stuff that we are getting that's good right now. I mean, Penguin, we've been talking about on a weekly basis, rather than it would already be out of everything if they had released it as a binge.
And I have not
been done on week 1.
Yeah, and I waited for Penguin. I'm gonna watch it all at once
Me too.
because I feel like as a viewer, I'm gonna have a better experience seeing it that way.
If it holds up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean it's. I mean, I know it won't be as strong as Agatha all along, but
If it doesn't hold up, then at least I'll know and I won't have to bother watching it all then.
that's a good point too.
But
Like
then
if
you'll have
there's-
missed 7 or 8 or 6 or 7 really good episodes of
yeah,
TV.
but here's
because
the thing.
of one fall apart.
No,
at the
yeah,
end.
70s is right. If
turns
the
to
last
shit.
2 episodes are shit and make everything, I wish I had never watched Game of Thrones.
I never watched the
I
last
rewatched
2
it. It's
seasons.
still worth seeing the first 4 seasons.
Yeah, because the first
It's
4
worth it
seasons
until they
were
get
great.
off of the books.
But that's the problem. It ended so badly, it ruined all the begin. Like if you go back and rewatch it, you know where it all ends.
I guess did, and I still enjoyed the hell out of the first 4 seasons.
But oh come on, you still knew what was
I'm
coming. and you're
100%.
kinda
I'm not
like,
lying. Yes, even knowing the ending, I still thought it was some of the best television I've ever seen on a rewatch.
Yeah.
Tyrion was fantastic all the way up until they started writing him instead of the actual author. And that's the author's fault, but
yeah, I don't know. I just the ending still was so bad.
Oh,
there's so many
Queen-
shows though that it had horrible series finales.
I am
Horrible
a,
series
by
finales,
the way,
and the whole
I'm
show
a,
could have been good until then.
I'm a Lost defender. I liked that series finale from the beginning. I know that's going to make me
I
feel
wasn't
bad.
entirely against it. But I thought
I
it was
thought
okay as an ending.
For years I always felt like ashamed that I liked it because I knew the general consensus was that it was bad. And then I found a couple of YouTube channels where they went into like hour-long deep dives explaining the entire continuity and lore, and I was like, shit, this stuff does make sense. I was right to like it.
There's a documentary movie about Lost coming out. I saw the trailer for it last night.
There were a lot of people
Nice.
that didn't like the Battlestar final
that-
season, or especially the finale. I loved it.
I
didn't
thought
like
it was
that.
great.
I liked
didn't
it too.
like that. I didn't like that. The minute Starbuck came back as an angel, I didn't like that.
But that was true to the original version of Battlestar, where they had the angels.
Yeah.
You don't remember the guys in white
do,
doing the
but I just
angel-y
didn't-
stuff?
I just didn't like it.
I mean, that
Just
show was
didn't fit with
that
the rest
show's
of
like
the show.
the show is basically Mormon religious theology. It's like
Well, it doesn't mean I have to like that.
no, it's fine.
But Chad,
But
also when we're talking about like serialized and Lost and that kind of stuff, I mean, that's 20 years ago already.
The serialized phenomenon started in the mid 90s with a couple shows, mainly sci-fi ones, Babylon 5, Deep Space Nine, Farscape. It grew into some of the like 24 was another one that committed to it. But it was because 24 was a high concept. Like, we're going to do 24-hour clock. And then they did also in some of the, Battlestar Galactica, the relaunch, another sci-fi one where they did it. Most of major television, because streaming services hadn't taken over, was still 20-plus episode standard.
Yeah,
format.
you had your comedy, you had your drama, you had your sitcom. I mean, but I guess what I'm getting at is 20 years of it is not, I mean, there's not a whole lot of history of television anyway.
So this is where I'll say, if you go back and watch the ones HBO did, like Game of Thrones, even though it was serialized storytelling, it was done in a format that made you want, like, it still fit a weekly model. Like the show moved the narrative along, and there was dramatic events usually at the end of each episode to kind of keep you moving forward. You don't have that
that's
in the
what I was
streaming
saying.
but the streaming shows don't do that. They don't build the ones that are even being released on a weekly model are not doing it to entice you to be interested on a weekly basis the way that was. They need to make it so that it keeps you hooked weekly, which is the problem. They're not designing their shows to be weekly. They're designing their streaming shows to be viewed as one whole entity instead of realizing that they're being viewed on a weekly basis. So you need to have an enticing hook at the end of each episode that gets you ready for the next thing and keeps you in, at the water cooler talking about it. And Game of Thrones did that fairly, like, pretty consistently. Even on like a standalone kind of not much happening episode, they would have some kind of dramatic reveal in the last 10 minutes that made you have something to talk about.
Then I'll be
going into
interested
the water cooler.
after you watch Penguin to see what you think on that one. Because yes, there has been at least one filler episode, but for the most part, it's ended on a hook for the next episode.
Which is, I mean, maybe that's one where they're starting to realize that, like, Penguin, by the way, is done by HBO. Who knows that, like, they converted it to being an HBO show that's also airing on HBO. So I would trust them to probably know how to do that kind of content better than
they do it
Paramount
a whole lot
Plus.
better than From.
Yeah, From. I hear that's a good one, Matt. Should I watch From in single episodes, or is it better as a binge where you see the whole season?
Wait, what show?
You
From.
kept watching From, didn't you? Because
Yeah,
we
I'm
all
still watching
quit.
it. I'm a little upset with it.
Does it
I don't
hook you
know.
from episode to episode, or is it? So does each episode end on the whole show is a cliffhanger that never answers anything, but does the show actually end episodes on cliffhangers to try to get you back for the next episode?
Sometimes. Not so much cliffhangers, just like what the fuck
Just
moments.
something to hook you in. Like, it could even just be a minute of something, because that's the way you used to do it. Like shows like Fringe, you'd have one non-main story arc episode, but at least there'd be a minute or two at the end would be connected to the story arc, so it would set you up
Yeah.
for the next week. Yeah,
And that's how you do weekly television.
it doesn't
You
have to
can-
be a cliffhanger, but yeah.
It has to be something to just entice you and keep you activated.
Yeah.
I've seen enough clips from Agatha to know that shit wasn't happening. It was just,
Well, Agatha was as formulaic as anything has ever been on TV, and it really wasn't. It's serialized, but it really wasn't, because it was formulaic episodes, and you could jump in at any time and not realize that you missed anything.
I definitely feel like I didn't miss anything.
The only
watching
episode
Agatha,
that was different from every other episode was the final episode.
where they
And
had to base.
it was the most ineffective finale to a season I've ever seen in my life.
Well,
And Bad Take's probably going to be mad at me.
I will. Yeah, I will tell you that it's super ineffective because the ratings, we're in. The Nielsen ratings come out every week, and what would have been the fourth week of Agatha. Let me get that in here.
So just so you can see, this is my notes for the next to last episode of Agatha on a note card. Here's the notes from the season finale. What the hell was the first 25 minutes? And this ended with nothing happening.
Bad Take says, I liked Agatha all along better than most of the old MCU series. They've only been doing this these for 2-3 years.
But that's the thing with Agatha. It was for a very niche group to watch. That was not a show for widespread.
Oh,
viewership.
it's definitely niche because this is
It's
streaming
extremely
ratings.
niche.
Yeah, so this is the streaming ratings for, again, this is September 30th through October 6th. So that would be, I
She
believe,
said she
the
meant other, not old.
Yeah, the four episodes in worth of content from Agatha. So these are the ratings for all streaming. It doesn't make that list. This is the ratings for original content, where it had been making the list the first 2 weeks it was up, and now it's completely dropped off the top 10. In the top 10, Unsolved Mysteries from 2020.
I didn't even know they were. Oh, from 2020.
Yeah, it was an original show for Netflix.
Oh, so that's when it restarted. Was 2020.
Yeah, so
it
this
is
is
a current
the
season.
British baking show. Yeah.
The Great Britain, these are only 352 million minutes. That's not a lot of views. If you boil it, like if it's a 45-minute episode, right? So 352 divided by like 45 minutes, you're talking like 7.8 million people watched it over the course of the entire week, which on old television ratings, that's not even making the top 10, like not even making the top 20. Shows like ER, Friends, you're talking 10 to 20 million people on a bad week. And big weeks, it was getting 20 to 30. Shows on major network television now still get 7, 8, 9 million viewers. For low budget sitcoms, for shows like Sheldon, like or whatever. So
Young Sheldon.
they're spending, for Young Sheldon. These shows cost and they get 20 plus episodes, and then they get to license them to streaming services and get more money after that. Agatha all along, these Disney ones, they're costing $200 million, and they're not even cracking 6-7 million viewers in a week. What are they making?
No.
What do you think, Matt? Are you gonna make? Are you waiting for season 2?
I am for Ahsoka.
He did for From.
Ahsoka would have Ahsoka on this chart was clocking basically between British Baking showing only Murders in the Building level viewership between that 430 and 442 number. Tulsa King right here is coming in 6th. You'll notice it's the only Paramount Plus show. Although Lioness just restarted. So I think that one, the season 2 just started.
Yellowstone should be dropping in the next few weeks, right?
Yeah. Yeah, so Tyler Sheridan he's the Paramount guy. Like all their original shows are basically his content.
Yeah.
And so that's
that network.
Rings of Power, and they were touting how great it's been doing. It's still behind Love is Blind. It's like doing half the numbers. It's doing half the numbers of a chintzy reality show.
Dating
that
show
that costs
you can't
nothing.
See the other person.
Netflix is probably spending 5 to 10 million total for that entire season of shows they get. And
I don't know if it's even that.
If that.
The most they can be spending on that show is the alcohol.
Oh, I mean, that might be a $5 million budget.
Yeah, just to keep those people from going insane and that stuff.
This
my
is the
daughter
one
and
that-
my wife watched The Love is Blind, and that is some of the dumbest TV I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I will say the one that bothers me the most still is this Lyle and Eric Menendez, man. It is still doing gangbuster numbers, and they are bad people, and they're going to get friggin' released from jail because of this show.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous.
well, they're going to get released from jail because the DA down there is in an election that he is not liked by the left, the center, or the right. So he's trying to say, look at me, I'm doing this, because he's the one who set up that task force to go look at old cases and try to free people left and right. So this is now his big moment.
I just don't like what constituency is voting for you because you're letting out two guys
you
who
would be
shotgunned their
surprised.
parents. That is crazy.
Gen Z. I mean,
Matt, is this the kind of stuff that that drove you away from being a police officer?
No, it was the Ferguson effect.
They've got my daughters completely on the side of the Menendez needing to be released because, well, they were molested. It's like, okay, then they killed 2 people. They were over 18. They could have left the house. Well, they got used to living in, this kind of lifestyle. So what?
No
If
one's
it was
ever
that
accountable.
bad, leave. Being poor or having that happen to you, which are you going to do?
Yeah.
No one's ever accountable for anything now. That's
Apparently
Instead,
you were okay
Courtney
with
Cox.
it if you were fine with it for money after you were
Courtney
leaving.
loved by them. Yeah. It's, the Menendez brothers were guilty as sin of doing it. They did it for the money. I know that they probably were abused as children. And like Brahma said, they weren't 9 anymore. They were
No, they were like 20 and 22.
they were in their early 20s. They could have left and told authorities, because clearly it wasn't repressed memories where they didn't know what happened. They knew, what was happening. They could have gotten their parents put in jail. It was, I mean,
And
at
even
the
if the
night,
mom never said anything, they only killed her because she was
They
a
won't-
witness.
well, also because she would have inherited the money before
Well,
them.
yeah, that too.
I mean, the reason the mom had to be removed from the scene too was so they could be the last next of kin for the insurance policies to inherit the fortune.
But it's kind of like the
terribly
how to
taken.
make a murderer thing. I mean, people who don't actually want to go look at it and pay attention to what's actually the actual story is, not the documentary version of it is, they'll buy what the documentary is saying because
Okay,
you think
I read about
documentaries are actually, something that tells the truth.
What I will say this, that whole situation was sketchier. I didn't just buy the documentary. I went and watched the prosecution version of it too. It seemed like they glossed over a lot of exculpatory evidence that pointed in the direction of her boyfriend. And it made a lot more sense for him to be the one who would be most likely to be the, dude who would do it. Just saying. And anyway, so
There's
that
been
one is
counter docs that, yeah.
I know I've watched both.
plenty.
I think that my problem is I look at it from the issue for me was that the prosecution didn't turn over the exculpatory evidence at the time. I also think they 100% railroaded the mentally challenged nephew. That the footage of the interview.
I would agree on that with the
that one. That is the
interview.
biggest issue for me is him. Like the other, it's 50-50 for me whether it was the boyfriend or the guy that actually got arrested, the junkyard owner person.
Yeah.
But the nephew is mentally challenged at generously saying that. And the way they did that, police, I am always, no offense to Matt as a former cop, the way cops do these interviews, especially with teens, for some of these cases and it's not really frontline police officers. These are detectives trying to get the arrest usually. And they ride those lines about what they're able to do when these kids ask for their parents. And then they say, well, no. And they keep them in there for we're talking like this guy was 15 or 16. And he was in there for 22 hours straight of interrogation. It was not. And by then that's when he was like, fine. Yeah, I did it. Yeah. I don't know. He may very well have been a participant, but the way it got there is a problem. I don't like that kind of stuff. I feel like there's a lot of issues.
The other problem is documentaries presenting from
a perspective.
The documentarian's bias towards the story, and people not understanding apparently that documentaries are not just we're laying out the facts. It's we're going to tell a story through this documentary. There are people that are just, not capable of understanding that. And that's what bothers me about these ones about true crime.
Unless you're Nancy Pelosi's daughter and you get in trouble because you record footage of your mom saying that it was her fault because she didn't let the
I'm the ringleader. We made all this happen, but no, we'll have congressional hearings on everything else.
A better daughter would have deleted that footage, but no, she kept it. She kept it there. All right. Moana 2 comes out actually on the Wednesday right before Thanksgiving. I think Disney's putting a lot of faith into that being their moneymaker, but it looks shitty. This is by the way, a repurposed TV series. It was going to be a Disney Plus, just like Moana cartoon. And they just decided to make a movie, like a feature movie out of it.
This would have been one of those ones that back in the day went straight to VHS.
Yes. This is release. What is it? What was the Aladdin 2? Like the Prince,
Return of Jafar.
The Return of Jafar.
Return of Jafar.
Where they brought in Dan Castellano from The Simpsons to be the voice of the genie.
The genie. I don't know. I think this will probably hit $1 billion either way.
You're going for the $1 billion on it?
Yeah, I'll put the hot prediction out there that it will hit $1 billion.
See, I know Inside Out 2 did, and that makes me a little.
Moana has just a ridiculously stupid amount of fans. That is the first one.
But
Is
the
a
first-
extremely loved movie.
But you know, the first one didn't make money in the theaters.
I mean, I
Yeah,
loved
but
the
now
first
it's
one,
got a
don't get me
following.
wrong. But I don't know. I don't know. I love the
I think
first
it'll
one,
hit $1
but I don't
billion.
know.
Yeah, Eric is. Yeah, you can see the quality difference because it's rushed for the window.
I think the
yes.
timing of the release, yeah.
It's
Eric hit
this
it.
is
I mean,
yeah, this is where they put Frozen and Frozen 2 out both times. That Thanksgiving
everybody's on
week
vacation.
is a
Yep.
monster week. It'll do numbers.
I'm
Because
just
I can
putting
tell
it
you,
out there early. I think it'll do $1 billion.
from working at the theater, Black Friday and that whole week was giant movie going numbers. We did so much. The only other day that was crazy was actually Christmas Day afternoon.
Yep.
And you wouldn't think about it because people think Christmas Day everyone spends it with their family, but they're done with Christmas Day by like 2:00, and so they all go to the movies because the movie theater is one of the only things open on Christmas.
Yeah, you
movie
go
theaters are open
as a family,
365.
the whole group.
Yep. And I used to I would work for, we didn't do time and a half, which sucked. I was, you had to work when you were at the theater, you would get 2. They would tell you could have 2 of the holidays. You could have, out of Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's, you can get 2, but you've got to work 1. And so I was like, all right.
I thought it was a requirement that you got 2.5 times pay on holidays.
No, there's no federal requirement for time and a half.
No, it's not an OSHA thing, or
Nope.
whoever would be doing that.
It's some states may require it, but it is not federally required. I don't even think any state requires that you get extra pay for a holiday. Some unions have negotiated for that, but it's definitely not any legal
Maybe it's just become
requirement.
a standard as a perk benefit.
Yeah.
When I was in the military, I always used to volunteer for things like guard duty on the base over Christmas and New Year because I would get double the time off after.
Yeah,
it was always worth it. It was always worth it.
You're allowed to give whatever benefit you want as a business or
and that was
military.
The military. That was different. Yeah.
In the military, you have in the Navy, I don't know if this is the way it is for other branches, but you have duty days where you basically have to go and stay on the ship for the entire 24-hour period.
We had the same.
You sell those duty days. Like if you're like, I got nothing going on Christmas and other people want to go home on Christmas, you're like, I'll stay your duty day for $100.
I did.
Atheist on religious holidays, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
It was always worth volunteering for the stuff that people really didn't want to do because you always got more back out of it.
Shit.
Yeah.
All right. So after Moana, which is the week we get a movie, Get Away, The Return. What is The Return? Some of these movies.
Solo Leveling Reawakening? They're making a movie?
I thought that would get your attention.
Solo Leveling?
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting.
I've heard good things about Solo Leveling. I haven't watched all of it yet.
I liked it. The show is good. This is all right. The Return might be interesting. It's apparently a movie about Odysseus washing up on the shore of Ithaca after 20 years, with Ray Fiennes as Ulysses or Odysseus, whichever.
I don't know how I feel about them. No, we're not reimagining Homer.
Touching the
I'm
Odyssey.
sorry. Fuck off.
No,
is this Greeks oiling each other up? Is that what it is?
I don't know that it's reimagining the Odyssey. I think it's actually just doing the.
It's a follow-on. It's like a.
It's actually following the tale of the Odyssey.
Odyssey 2.
It's a lot to follow.
Odyssey 2. He's back. And this time, he's pissed.
I'm trying to see if there's
That's
any.
right. Soul Assassin. I did.
Juliette
do a lot of stuff
Binoche
like
as the wife. Nothing wrong with that.
Mm-hmm.
So that could be all right. Now looking at it, I might use my movie subscription for that one.
We'll see what happens.
Limited. My Neighbor Totoro re-release. Yeah, that's go see a Mrs. Miyazaki. You
I
know,
haven't seen a single Korean movie on here yet.
you can go see Oh Canada.
Ugh,
All right,
gross.
here's an interesting thing going up against each other. We have Craven the Hunter versus the Lord of the Rings, the War of the Rohirrim, which
Is that
Lord
the
of the
anime?
Rings. That's the anime one. I'm
That's a
conflicted
tough
on
call.
it because the animation looks good, looks Castlevania style.
It looks
But
very girl bossy
It's
though.
girl
doesn't it?
boss.
but it's
It's
getting
girl
girl boss. Yeah,
Yeah,
but it's
girl
got the
boss.
and Craven the Hunter is these shitty Sony no Spider-Man movies, so not feeling that. Even though
I
Aaron
mean,
Taylor
if I had to
Johnson
pick,
is pretty good.
I'd take my chances with War of the Rohirrim.
Over
Were you that
Craven?
on that?
No,
Were you
go
on that,
Craven.
Mad?
Which one? Craven the
Craven
Hunter.
the-
I'm excited. I'm looking forward to it.
You like
I-
Aaron Taylor Johnson?
I
though,
do. I like
right?
him a lot.
Yeah.
He's if him and Taylor Kitsch did a buddy movie, I
They
bet you
did.
would. Did they?
Yeah. Savages.
Yes, that's right. yeah.
Oh shit, that's
The
right.
Oliver
where they were
Stone
tag-
movie. Yeah, and I
you
liked
know,
it.
that's they were tag teaming Mrs. Ryan Reynolds
Yep.
in that one. So
I'm actually
did
going to
like
agree with
Savages.
Eric. Eric put up a hot take, had to read Iliad or Odyssey in high school mythology semester and hated it. I agree. I hate reading them. But when I think about the story that they tell, it's fucking awesome. It's just plowing through the
antiquated.
way it's written. Yeah,
It's-
it's kind of like Shakespeare. Like Shakespeare's
Mhm.
stories are really good. They're tough reads.
Yeah, because most of the
Epic of
language isn't
Gilgamesh,
used.
or
Yep.
We've got the Bad Take Bojan chiming in with Aaron Taylor Johnson looks hot in the trailer.
We should open
for
a
Craven
window.
the
He'll cool
Hunter.
down a bit then.
Yeah. It's like maybe that's why he's not wearing a shirt most of the time. So, yeah. Apparently, have you seen the War of the Rohirrim toys? They're selling the castle playset made of cardboard. Should get all the '80s kids. Yeah, I mean '80s. Let's see. Then we got.
Oh, the last showgirl might be quite good. It's the Pamela Anderson thing, I think.
Oh, is that what that is?
Documentary. Yeah, I think it could be quite interesting.
I watched that Pam and Tommy Hulu show, and that was pretty good.
Yeah.
That was Lily James again,
Mhm.
bringing a point, playing Pamela Anderson. I don't get it. Pamela Anderson was all pissed off about that show getting made because she's upset anytime they go over the fact that she got, outed and her sex tape came out. But I think she was really unfair because if you watch the show, it was actually very flattering to her as a person. It basically put all the blame on Tommy Lee for being an asshole who wouldn't pay contractors and was super demanding and a dick. And so the contractor, because he was unpaid and they had stolen his tools and all this stuff, knew where the safe was and just broke in and took his safe. And what was in the safe? The movie. So, and it was
She was just pissed off she didn't make any money out of it.
yeah, I mean, but the problem is if your story is public like that and people know these details, they don't have to pay you to do it. So, but as again, it was very sympathetic. Lily James did a lot to help basically, rehab my image of Pamela Anderson from
I
that
think
era.
she's an okay person at the end of the day, Pamela Anderson. She's got some redeeming qualities. I think this movie will show that.
Is it two of them? Yeah, that's what she thinks.
There used to be. Yeah.
There used to be.
It's-
All
it's-
right.
I think it's
Yeah, I
a
just
tale of-
can't stop focusing on her
That's right,
redeeming
it's-
qualities. I don't know
think
what
it's
it
a
is.
Tale of what fame.
I
and
just
business
she's got
does to
like
you. It's what business does.
I know one thing the business did to her, and that's having like a really weird version of Hep C.
Mhm.
That allegedly was going to kill her till she did some kind of special treatment.
Well, that was also probably from Tommy Lee.
Yeah, exactly. That was directly from Tommy Lee. So
Like he's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yep. This is
No,
another. All right. So
No,
moving to
that was the best movie. Wallace and Gromit. That'll be a good movie.
So we've got 3 movies coming out basically ahead of Christmas the Friday before, going against each other. The one that's going to be the interesting standoff is Mufasa the Lion King versus Sonic the Hedgehog
I
3.
vote Sonic.
I think Sonic the Hedgehog 3 might actually win.
I think it will.
I think Mufasa
Definitely.
takes it.
Because I
Why?
know my son loved both of the Sonic movies and wants to see that. Mufasa, he has no, like, the Lion King was successful.
Lion
but-
King's a relic at this point. The Sonic stuff is ongoing.
Yeah, and Sonic. Look at the toy. If you go look at the toy aisle right now, they're putting the Sonic merch in.
Yeah.
They're like Targets are dedicating chunks to Sonic merch. They
Sonic
haven't
will
put any.
outsell it 2 to
yeah.
1, I think.
I don't know. Maybe this is a hot take, but I thought Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was
Garbage.
such a dip in quality compared to the first one.
Agreed.
Like, I fucking hated it. I have no interest in seeing the third one whatsoever.
Nope.
I
Even
agree,
with
but I'm
Shadow
also
in
not
there.
a child.
That doesn't make it better, Lil Chad. Have you played video games?
That
Shadow the
was
Hedgehog
Brahma.
fucking sucks.
That was
Shadow the Hedgehog is beloved by a lot of the Sonic.
Is he?
fans.
The
Yes.
character, not his standalone game.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Yeah,
talking
his
the character.
standalone game is revered as one of the worst.
Bad take coming in saying middle class white people will be going to see Homestead from Angel Studios. Man, Angel Studios is bitty. What is
That's a
Homestead?
wide release as well.
Is this a Western
Sounds
post-apocalyptic drama filmed by
I've seen the trailer. I've seen the trailer.
oh, that's the one with
Neil McDonough.
Neil McDonough, yeah.
Actually, could be quite good.
That's interesting. I guess is it based on a book series?
Don't know.
Based on the book Black Autumn by Jeff Kirkman and Jason Ross.
Well, it'll be
Neil
interesting to
McDonough.
see if after next week we already have a collapse of society by the time this movie comes out.
Maybe cinemas will be
Yeah, I
in
mean,
flames.
this whole freaking thing we're looking at, this all hinges on whether or not there's even a country to watch these
The
things in
cinemas will be-
December.
Cinemas
I
will be
think we're
burnt
gonna
down.
still have a great country, big country, huge country, the best country. Our
Tremendous.
country's
Are we going to be in a
tremendous.
big country?
If
though?
somebody who
ask
uses
anyone
that
about it.
language, yes.
In a big country, we stay with you like a lover. Sorry.
All right, so all right, going down the panel. Slender, you're voting Mufasa for the win. Brahma, you're going Sonic.
Yeah, I'm going Sonic.
Mad, Sonic or Mufasa?
Mufasa. No, Sonic. I'm gonna go Sonic.
You're gonna go Sonic.
Hold on, though. When we say win, by
Winning
what
the box
metric
office.
are we rating this?
Which
Box
one
office.
makes most money opening weekend?
Okay,
just
I say
opening
Sonic the
weekend.
Hedgehog 3 makes more money opening weekend, but Mufasa has a better audience score.
Okay.
That's a weird metric to go on, but
No,
I
I get
mean,
it.
well-
Yeah, I agree.
That's Mad's choice too. I'm gonna say
I
that
think the people will
go
like
Sonic.
Mufasa more than they like Sonic
Yeah,
the Hedgehog
I
3.
agree.
I'll go Sonic.
okay.
so we're basically consensusing that Sonic is probably gonna win the box office battle because that's
Box
what I
office,
think
yeah, it's gonna win. Like,
Oh,
I just
we've
think
got-
it's not gonna be as good a movie.
Eric is all right in chat. Eric is going bold and saying Mufasa will beat Sonic easy. Not even
We'll
like.
see.
Well, Imp, do you have a vote on this one?
I would say probably Sonic.
Sonic. All right.
And
Oh shit! I feel
we
like
have
we're.
to admit too. Let's all recognize our own bias. We've been shitting on Disney for years now, but the Lion King remake did good fucking numbers.
Oh it
Yeah,
did,
but
like,
that was also one of the
1.5
first
billion.
ones they did. Now people are tired of them.
Yes.
And people
I
are
gave
also
my
fed
reasoning.
up with Disney.
I gave my reasoning. I think Sonic it's a current thing. I think The Lion King is kind of a relic at this point. I don't know that kids right now really give a crap about The Lion King at the same rate that they do about Sonic.
Well, my
because we've had
grandkids
2
don't.
recent movies.
Well, yeah, like Slender and I said, we both agree that
Yeah.
Sonic will have a bigger box office, but I think Mufasa will have a better rating or a better.
Yeah,
audience
I'm just saying
Yeah.
it. I'm not saying it just because of our Disney bias. I'm saying that's the reason I think it will do it, not because I think Disney sucks.
Yeah, I also think that coming closer to that movie coming out, they'll do a big Jim Carrey slapstick comedy ad campaign kind of thing, and it'll bump the numbers
Is
for
this
that
role
too.
in it going to be downgraded though, given that there's
No.
Okay.
He's their lead star. They invested
Yeah.
in him, and he's
Okay.
and Jim Carrey's at the point in his career where he likes the fact that people go see the Sonic movies because it keeps him relevant. So he's in on it.
Yeah, because if you go look at the Lion King 2019, which was their big remake, right?
I believe it made like
Um,
1.7 billion.
The critic score was 51%, but the audience score was 88%. Like people liked that movie a lot.
So here's where Disney scores best. If you look at the audience score, and I'm going to tell you which ones you go with: Cinderella, Beauty and the Beast, and The Lion King, because those ones were fucking shot for shot remakes of the animated movies. And so they have the highest audience scores because people wanted to see the movie. Like, if I'm going to the live action, I just want to see the live action version.
I want to watch the same fucking movie with updated visuals. That's what I
Correct.
want.
Yeah, correct.
How far off was Jungle Book? I know they added a song or two with Walken, but
Jungle Book was pretty close.
Part?
Yeah, and it
Pretty
made
close?
money. Yeah, and it made
Okay.
money. Jungle Book was basically the proof of concept for Favreau to turn around and do The Lion King. I think he did that one too.
Plus, having Walken singing is never a problem.
What year did that one come out? 2019. Was that? And it was. I just want to confirm. John Favreau. Yeah, John Favreau directed that. Favreau is mints money from Disney.
Correct,
and
Davina. Nobody.
Yeah. So he had Jungle Book, and he really liked the technology to do the photorealistic like animal animation. So he moved around and he was like, "I'll do Lion King because we can do that now." They
But then
call
we
it
ended
live
up
action.
getting like Little Mermaid, where we decide we're not going to go shot for shot, or
And it made, well, here's the funny thing about Little Mermaid. It actually outgrossed the original Little Mermaid by a good amount domestically. It made the money it needed to domestically, but internationally, it was rejected soundly and made like nothing. It made, I think worldwide, it made in the 500 to 600 million range, but like 300 million of that was domestic.
That's because the world hates gingers.
I was going to say
well,
the world
also hates Aquafina.
I was going to say Aquafina.
Everybody hates
There's
Aquafina.
also a specific continent whose eastern part and all the nations within the eastern part of that continent have a problem with a specific skin tone for their lead actors.
Name
and
it.
they don't. China, Vietnam, Korea, Japan. I'm going to be honest. They don't want to go see movies with lead characters that are black.
Okay. We get it.
Well,
We get it. We get
it's not like, I mean, it's not like this isn't known. Remember,
Was that
friggin'
through
Disney?
Black Panther?
I think Black
Did it
Panther.
do bad numbers over
He
there?
wasn't on the poster. Let's put it that
Yeah,
way.
they covered him up so that you couldn't see. Like it was all mask in the posters
He was on-
overseas.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
they went
starred
with
Bucky, according to them.
Yeah, here we go. This is, I'm going to show you. This was a controversy at the time. This was the Chinese poster versus the American poster for Black Panther.
Yep. A little different.
I don't know what the box office was in China.
I
for
mean,
Black
the only
Panther.
person who probably got worse poster treatment was Finn as
Yeah,
John
Star
Boyega
Wars.
Oh, that
for
was
Star Wars,
criminal, yeah,
where they
criminal.
just pretty much put him in the teeny. They are first in Force Awakens, they just didn't even put him on the poster, and then by the later ones, they just made him
did.
teeny tiny.
They shrunk him way down and pushed him off to the right behind everybody else.
In the red
was-
glow.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean, it's,
Yeah.
He got done dirty in the movies anyway. He should have been the Jedi. But
Dude, I honestly thought they were going that route where he was a force
Should've.
sensitive that was also going to become a Jedi.
yes.
Because he was using a lightsaber, which if you're not force sensitive, you're not even supposed to be able to use them.
You're assuming there was a route that they were going.
Dude,
They may have. I mean, the first movie may have
just
set
saying
that
in the
up, but
first
they
one,
had no plan for
they
the other
set up
two.
so much good shit for him, and then in the second and third one, they just Disney reverted to form, and they were like token black guy, token black guy all over again. And I mean, you saw it kind of at the end of the first one where he's like, "Oh, I was the janitor." Like, really? He was a fucking janitor? You sent the janitor down to a planet to engage in an extermination? Like, no, fuck off.
The only time I recall Han using a saber was basically as a scalpel to open up the tauntaun. That's not exactly using the saber, that's turning it on.
Yeah. And Finn
He
fought
didn't
with
battle
one,
with it.
like, effectively.
Far too effectively.
Yeah, I mean he managed to get like a slight hit in on Kylo Ren, which should no way happen.
But he was shot. Don't forget, he was shot.
I mean, that's another thing. He got bowcastered to the side. Like, how do blasters work in Star Wars universe? I've seen stormtroopers get a bolt to the
He used the saber
and they
to cut
die.
open a
It
tauntaun.
depends who shoots it first.
That's because it makes all right. The blasters make no sense. There's-
Stormtroopers die from getting hit on their armor, but yeah, you can get hit in the stomach and still
or
stay to
Carrie
fight.
Fisher in Return of the Jedi, she got shot in the shoulder. Like
Yeah.
I had prior to that, I had assumed the blaster when it makes contact does something to short your heart out because of the electric bolt of it. So if it hits you, you're dead.
So
Because
maybe wearing the
Yeah.
stormtrooper armor actually makes it surge through
I
your
don't.
body.
It just doesn't make sense. I still would like
I
somebody.
wanted that blaster to hit her shoulder and do the Jack Black thing from the old fucking Assassin movie where his whole arm just
The
exploded.
jackal.
Yes.
There's a
Oh.
new version of that out as a TV
Oh, the-
series right now.
Yeah, with Eddie Redmayne.
Redmayne.
Which is lame. I mean, Bruce Willis with dementia would probably still come off as more menacing than Eddie Redmayne.
Yeah, he's not menacing.
They even called it the Day of the Jackal again.
No, it wasn't called Day of the Jackal, the movie. It was just called The Jackal.
Was it just Jackal?
Yeah.
Well, that wasn't original though, was it?
No, the first one was the Day of the Jackal back in the 70s
Yeah.
with Edward Fox or one of those guys. Yeah,
Jackal was a remake.
yeah Jackal was a remake.
Yeah, it was a
I don't
good
know.
one.
I mean, Bruce
That
Willis
was-
was good in that movie.
The show's kind of gone under the radar. I haven't heard anybody
What
mention it. I
cha-
just
like,
found
if-
out.
First I've heard of it.
Is that one on like Paramount or what?
I don't think it's Paramount. Is it Apple? Maybe
Oh, you know what? Let's see. Day of the Jackal.
because Apple stuff tends to go under the radar because
It's Sky Studios. So it's Peacock in the US.
Okay, that
Sky
explains it.
in
Oh,
Sky in Europe. Sky Atlantic.
So the
in
new Jackal, the white guy is the evil assassin,
Jackal.
and the black girl is
Lashana
the one who's
Lynch
going to bring
is the
him to
hero,
justice.
yes.
Of
Out.
course.
I'm already out.
Yeah, I mean, I looked at the freaking cover and I'm like, and I'm done. Not sold anymore.
Wasn't Lashana Lynch the one they tried to turn into James Bond?
Yeah, she is the one who's the lead in this one now too.
So they've basically given her a James Bond type role in this one.
Yeah, this is the poster for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm
And-
already out.
Yeah, Eddie Redmayne,
cares?
not the right. Like, who's gonna cast Eddie Redmayne for this?
Who cares? Yeah.
Like, come on.
I've seen him in a dress. I'm not intimidated by it.
If you all right, you know who you could have got who at least leaving Lashana Lynch, but for the dude from Game of Thrones who got red weddinged, who's been in other who was in that MI6 show.
Oh,
Sadly,
yeah.
you know who would be perfect
Yeah.
to play the Jackal?
Madden, Richard Madden. Is his name Richard Madden? No. That's,
No,
I
Richard
don't know his
Madden
name.
is. No, was it Richard Madden? Could be.
Hey, have any of
The
y'all
guy
watched
who
Brothers
could
yet?
Still play the Jackal would be Kevin Spacey because he basically is the
True.
real
It
life.
is. Yeah, it is Richard Madden, by the way. Yeah. Oh yeah, Kevin Spacey. It could be his comeback role.
Well,
If
there
you
is
were
a
going to
pic-
go with an actor from this age range, I would have gone with like Ben Foster.
I like Ben Foster a lot. I
You
thought he
know,
was great
I-
in
what were
13 to
you-
Yuma.
What were you about to say a minute ago, Matt?
Oh, I was just asking if anybody saw Brothers yet.
What is it?
Which-
That's the one we watched the trailer together. It's the one with Thanos and Tyrion.
Oh yeah, was it gonna be on Amazon?
Yeah, it's on there now. It's been on there.
I hadn't watched it yet.
Nope.
My Amazon
This is a
watching
drama,
right now.
correct?
No, it's a comedy.
Well, I think it's more
Action
like a dramedy.
comedy.
No, I think it's
Did
more
you
like
watch
a
it,
dramedy.
Mad?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I didn't want to
Okay.
watch
Two
waste my
criminal
time until y'all saw
twin
it.
brothers, one trying to reform, embark on a dangerous heist road trip. Oh, is okay. Yeah, I think we did watch this one.
The
Looked like
trailer,
it could
yeah.
be good.
Yeah, but the trailer just threw everything possible at you.
Yeah, it looked like it could be good, but it almost looked like they were trying too hard.
Yep.
Like, it's so funny. It's funny, right, guys? Look how funny it is. We're gonna
But it's
explain
also
to you how funny it
serious
is.
and sad.
I kind of blame Tyrion. What's his name?
Tyrion.
We've all forgot his freaking name.
Yeah, Peter
Yeah.
Dinklage doesn't have
Peter
a real name.
Dinklage.
So
Yeah.
Peter Dinklage, he seems like a demanding asshole who would make them try to do all this kind of like.
I mean,
He's
the
his
more
character
the
from
more
Elf.
I see him out of character, the more I dislike him as a human
Mhm.
being.
Yeah, I think him in real life is his character from Elf.
Yeah, I think so too. Honestly,
You're an angry. Like if I ever met him and I call, do you think he'd get mad if I called him an angry elf? You're an angry elf. Tell me about your plasma screens in Vale.
I imagine he would get angry.
I mean, he's personally responsible for $150 million of the budget on that Snow White movie, since they had to reshoot it now with digital little people, since he can like
Since he
guilted
demanded
them
that they can't use real little people.
Yeah. Oh, poor man. It's funny. That's another thing where digital effects and AI are going to completely eliminate roles for little people.
I
They're
don't
not
know.
going to.
Based on what I saw of Snow White, that's not eliminating any roles anytime soon. If
No,
they want
as
it
a
to
matter
look
of fact,
right.
they may be scrambling to do another Snow White with little people again, because they're gonna kill the, like, I guess it's not really a franchise, but they're gonna kill that IP.
I mean, they're working really hard on killing the fairy tale altogether.
Yeah.
All right. I
It's a
think.
mess.
All right. So the last upcoming fall movie really is Baby Girl, wide release on December 25th. We've got Nosferatu from Focus Features. I think that one is a alleged they're redoing the original one. Bill Skarsgård is playing.
If you want to watch it before then, Midnight's Edge and Tom, they just remastered the original Nosferatu and added a whole bunch of cutscenes and a whole bunch of other stuff into it. I think it's on Midnight's Edge channel right now.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I watched it.
I'm a big Robert
Full
Eggers
remaster
fan.
of it.
Yeah. I'm interested in the A Complete Unknown one, which is the Bob Dylan biopic.
Dude, weirdly, follow my logic here. Mad's going to be the only one, right? He was asking if we saw Brothers, and now I want to watch The Mummy.
I'm not following the logic.
No.
I'm still trying to figure that
I
out.
know no one's going to follow the logic, but Mad
Yeah.
follows the logic, and he's saying no, but he followed the logic.
All right, hold
No,
on.
you
Let me.
didn't?
No, I don't think
All right,
so.
hold on. Has anyone seen Brothers? Now
Mm-hmm.
I want to see The Mummy, the one with Brendan Fraser.
Yes.
Brothers.
I see zero connection
Peter
on this.
Dinklage. I remember that movie. I've
Brendan
seen that.
Fraser is in Brothers. He's the
Oh, that's
claw
right.
man.
And I forgot he was in the
Every time I see
trailer.
him in that
Okay.
trailer, I then see fat Brendan Fraser, and I'm like, I miss athletic Brendan Fraser. Then I'm like, he was really good in The Mummy, and then I want to watch The Mummy.
How
Got it.
like
Your
Brendan
brain is
Fraser's
not wired normal.
Nope,
Brendan
it's not.
Fraser's been around a long time. How old is he actually? He's 55.
He's like 60.
He's 55 years old. Okay.
I was close.
He's
And
like
Encino
Sid's
Man
age.
seems forever ago.
One of the greatest movies.
What's really forever ago was when he was in Georgia the Jungle and had that full head of hair.
Oh, yeah.
That was definitely a while
Eric
back.
Myers, the first one, OG Mummy. It's the best.
All right, I'm gonna watch this one on
Nosferatu.
mute because I don't know what kind of music it is. But just from the visuals, it's looks a little
It's probably a
interesting.
voiceover, dude. If this is the Robert Egger one, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Robert Egger is a fucking genius. I'm all on board for him.
I saw that it was Willem Dafoe as Van Helsing. So
Well,
That
yeah.
sound like a Phasmophobia level.
Yeah.
Ghost event.
I've never shared my.
Dude, I would love to play Phasmophobia in Dracula's castle.
Had these spells since childhood.
Maybe
It's
next
not hunting
year.
yet.
Tell me what you can from the beginning.
Can you tell me how old you are? The Van Helsing is doing the spirit boxing.
How old are you? Where are you? What do you want?
SAL.
Shifty says there's no licensed music in the trailer, so we should be okay.
ASL, man.
ASL?
Age, sex, location.
Yeah, no, I know what it is.
Oh.
The stench of their bodies was horrible.
Movie already
Was
looks
it, though?
creepy as fuck.
Standing before me.
It's Robert Egger. I mean,
But I'd never been so happy.
Ugh. Yeah.
Creepy.
This.
Oh,
Yeah,
dude, that's
and-
a sweet hat. I want that dude's hat.
I'm gonna tell you, this is I know that Skarsgård wants to be a real leading man. This is the roles he's meant for. Creepy Nosferatu looking scary dudes. He's not gonna be I saw The Crow, he can't pull it off.
Which
Keep him in this
Skarsgård is
gun.
it? Is it Bill?
Bill, he's gonna be the one playing the vampire.
It's funny because William Defoe played Nosferatu on Shadow of the Vampire.
Oh shit, yeah. We are incepting this shit.
y'all know who Robert Egger is, right?
Yeah.
What yeah,
Yeah,
what
I
is-
saw
what
his
else has
name
he
at the
done?
beginning.
The Northman. The Northman.
The Northman,
The
the
Lighthouse.
Witch,
The
the
Lighthouse.
Lighthouse.
I wasn't a fan of the Northman.
Were you a fan of the Witch?
I thought the
Never saw
Northman
it.
was great.
Me too. And so is the Witch, and so is the Lighthouse. The dude is he's killing it.
Never saw any of them except for the Northman, and I was thoroughly bored through most
Watch
of
the
the movie.
Witch.
I'm really bored. How can you be bored in that movie? It's intense.
It was slow.
It's super intense.
Yeah, that's
Like,
kind of his style. He's not going to be like
It was
TikToking
slow
you,
as
you know,
hell.
with fucking Michael Bay level cuts.
I mean,
Just
I-
wasn't a movie I cared for. Me and
I
the
don't
wife
know.
both were just like, I was bored.
That's why
did you
should've
know
watched
that it
The
was
Bro.
Hamlet going in?
Yeah, we knew a lot of stuff going in.
Okay.
And we also knew that it was supposed to be, you know, kind of on our side a big hit. You know, just as not having the woke crap in it, but it just didn't do it for me. I tried to like it, and I could not get there.
The Witch is on Amazon Prime. Watch it.
Okay.
Show the
But
Northman
Amazon Prime
raid
makes me
and-
watch commercials even though I pay for Prime. Fuck Amazon
It doesn't
Prime.
make me watch commercials.
Yeah. You pay the extra money and you know
Yeah,
it.
you pay the
It's fine.
extra.
Oh, probably.
Show the Northman
No,
raid to
Shredder
him,
does.
and he'll probably come up with a dozen metal songs to play with it. Yeah, I could. The visuals would probably work perfectly for that. Let's see. Shifty says I like Eggers movies, but it took me like 5 times to get through the first half hour of The Lighthouse. Kept falling
Shifty,
asleep.
this always gets me in trouble, but I bring up the same thing with Master and Commander. I've
Yeah,
never
I'm
finished
with
that
you.
fucking movie.
Oh,
I love
I
that
see
movie.
it every
It's
time.
a fabulous movie. Come on.
Sure.
It's a fabulous
never made it
3.5 hour long movie.
Yeah. Well, you know, take drugs.
It was
Stay
a
awake.
More
genuine.
coke and I could watch it.
You know who doesn't have a problem? No, I was kidding. Minnesota lawyers can get through that movie no problem.
Creature is a
I get
force
that
more
reference.
powerful than evil.
All right,
Its desire
this movie definitely has got me now. I'm gonna go see it.
is to consume
This looks good.
all life
powerful
on
than
earth.
evil.
Only you can redeem us. He is coming.
By the way,
Weird movie for Christmas.
I'm on
Yeah.
board. By the way, S. Craig Zoller has a new World War II movie coming out
Who?
with S. Craig Zoller, dude. Fucking Bone Tomahawk, Dragged Across
Oh,
Concrete.
I like that. I like
Yeah.
all of those movies.
Yeah, starring Vince Vaughn and Adrian Brody.
Adrian Brody won an Oscar the last time he was in a World War II movie.
Well, this one's kind of different. The synopsis is kind of veil.
The Bookie and the Bruiser.
Yep.
Post World War II. Yeah.
Yes,
Vince,
them adjusting
was
to
he-
life, which I
Adjusting,
think means they're gonna have to kill some shit at.
I
toward
mean,
the end.
1959 New York is like 15 years.
Oh, I didn't get that part. My synopsis didn't say
Yeah.
1959.
Set in
Vaughn's done a couple of movies
1959
with this
New
guy,
York.
right?
It follows a
Best text rendered impersonation of Mad ever. Mad Sperrato. Me, I'm the vampire. Hey, don't stake me, bro.
Me, don't stake me.
I'm the vampire. Don't steak me, bro.
Vince Vaughn's done a couple of movies with that
Yeah,
guy,
he did
right?
Dragged Across Concrete and Brawl in Cell Block 99.
Brawl on Cell Block. Okay.
All right, here's your synopsis. Set in 1959 New York, the Bookie and Bruiser follows a pensive Jewish fellow named Rivner and an oversized Italian-American tough named Boscolo from the Lower East Side, both of whom served overseas during World War II and returned changed men who no longer fit inside the lives they'd left behind.
Which one do you think Vince Vaughn's going to play?
The oversized bouncer.
Probably not the
Because if
pensive
it said
Jew.
oversized nose, I would say Adrian Brody.
In the end, they find themselves stuck between powerful Irish gang and the mafia. All right, cool.
I'd be
That's good.
impressed if they actually casted the opposite roles just to subvert our expectations.
Yeah.
Wait, man, I
Looking
wasn't
at the
reading it.
pictures, let's pensive. Which if I'm just throwing darts, who's playing the pensive Jew versus the oversized Italian?
Adrian Brody looks like he's taking some kind of narcotic there.
Subvert our expectations.
There you go, Mad. Back to.
Oh, okay, yeah. All right. No longer the two friends partner up just whiskey. Okay.
It can't start in
It-
59 though. It has to start immediately after the war. It can't just be them. We can't. It'll show them becoming that for the first 10 minutes, and then it'll reach 59. 'Cause, you know, they wouldn't be struggling to adjust 14 years later. You know.
There is a devil in this world, and I have met him.
But he could never please me as he could.
Is that Renfield?
Whoa.
Oh yeah, they're calling it an action-packed tale of a during conflict between the Irish American and Italian mafias in New York.
Oh,
Yeah,
good.
this is gonna be an awesome fucking movie.
Sounds good.
That's
Who
an
was it you were
interesting pause frame.
Yeah, who was it you were asking? Was that what?
Was that Renfield?
Renfield's in it. I don't know who was. They showed
Well, the
him
guy
earlier.
they just showed. Is that the guy that plays Beast in X-Men and
Yes.
Renfield?
No,
Yes.
he's going to be playing. He's not Renfield. He's.
Oh, I'm not.
No,
I'm asking,
the
was
movie.
that actor?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's back-to-back years with a Dracula movie, huh?
Yeah. This time he's
So
playing. Thomas. Never mind. Thomas Hutter.
Oh, Nicholas Holt. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. Who was that one? Because did they change the names of the characters from the book?
I don't know.
I'm just looking at the cast list, and it looks like they changed because instead of Harkness, they have the lead female as Anna Harding, and then Aaron Taylor Johnson is playing Friedrich Harding, and Bill Skarsgård is playing Count Or. Yeah, they Germanized all the names. Count Orlok instead of Dracula. So I guess Renfield could be Nicholas Holt again. I don't know because with the new names, I know what the Bram Stoker names are supposed to be.
Oh, Shifty had it. Nicholas Holt.
I know that's the actor's name. I'm talking about what character he's playing.
We couldn't come up with
Right.
it. That's why I was
Almost-
just
Why are
saying.
we spending so much time worrying about what character he's playing? We're 3 hours in, man.
Yeah, I'm done.
Was the original Nosferatu a direct from Bram Stoker's?
It was
'Cause I've never watched it.
no.
I'm ready.
The German director kind of like changed things for it. Yeah, the original. That was another thing. The original Nosferatu, like, Germanized and took name. That's why they called it Nosferatu instead of
So
Dracula.
it was Orlok in the
Yeah.
original as well. Yeah.
It's Orlok in a lot of the Castlevania games.
Is it?
As a character, but not as Dracula.
Okay.
Symphony of the Night, I think, has an Orlok. It's one of the bosses during multiple of the Castlevania games, I think. The name's very familiar from Castlevania.
All right. Well, since we're getting towards the end, and I know Slender wants to just end things before he does that, we'll give, since we have guests.
Trying to be nice because I
I
know you
know.
guys have really big political streams coming up, so I didn't want to just end it.
Yep. So we'll start with Brahma. What do you got?
Really big political streams coming up on Sunday morning, and then on Tuesday night, where Comics was nice enough to give us a plug for the Tuesday night election stream on
You mean
FNT without
all
mentioning me or little Chad or
me.
our side of the stream.
That'll
Just
help.
mentioning all the guests we've lined up. So come hang out with us on Tuesday night for the election stream. It should be a crazy night. Based on the numbers we're seeing, it is possible we will have a president on Tuesday night. We'll see. I'm not going to say we're going to do what Steven Crowder is doing, where we're going to stream until we have a resolution to this election, because I have a job the next day.
Yeah,
But,
well, he gets paid by the Mug Club, so he can do that.
if it goes 30 days with court challenges, I'm not sure how he's going to live up to that promise. But
I'm sure he can rotate. He's got a
Yeah.
crew.
Yeah,
But-
they'll just start like you'll see
you'll
them
just see Crowder
rotating.
sleeping at his desk and somebody else
Yeah.
talking.
I mean, it's not like he has a wife to go home to.
Ooh, fucked up, dude. That's fucked up.
Wow. I know
That's
there
my-
are going to be
Are
a
you
lot
stealing
of
my job, Chad? What the fuck? I'm the one to make
Seriously,
the asshole.
you know what,
comments,
Chad?
Not you.
You know what,
We're
Chad?
both in America, which used to be a good country, until they started letting people like you do whatever you want.
I know there's going to be a lot of choices to watch on Tuesday night. Just throw us in the mix. We're happy to have anybody over there. We'll have a good night. It's
Yeah.
going to be fun. Unless
And
it's
if you wanna-
very, very not fun. But I don't see anything that says we're not going to have a lot of fun.
And Sunday, I think we're making our final predictions. That's going to be our lock.
Final
part of the
predictions
show.
for presidency, Senate, and House.
Yep. So that'll be fun too, and then we can see how well that goes. 70s. What do you have?
70s
Okay.
can hit our other show. Yeah.
Yeah, so we, Bram and I, obviously, bourbon and boarding tomorrow night. It's 9:15 p.m. and both of our channels here, there, everywhere. It's the usual shit, you know. But lots of fights. I've got a lot of fights this week.
I've got a lot of fights, and I've got a first for me. Have you ever seen two pucks in play at the same time?
Oh yeah, I just saw that earlier. Yeah, that's going to be one we'll cover.
We'll watch
I
that
think-
tomorrow.
But I've been saying for years, to make the game more interesting, have multi-pucks on the ice at once. Much more fun.
Oh, freaking pinball, multi-ball.
Yeah. Which puck? Who cares? So yeah, tomorrow night, bourbon and boarding. I'll probably be working on a few videos here and there, and my show next Wednesday night to try and get some humor after all the whatever the hell's going on next week will be a Cult Comedy Crew episode where we'll do Monty Python and the Holy Grail. So it'll basically 2 hours of us reciting the whole movie.
I was
And
gonna
that's
say
in-
I know every line
That's
from
right.
start to finish in that freaking movie.
All it's gonna be.
And that's now again. That's Wednesdays now, right?
Yeah, my show's now Wednesday evening, 6:30 p.m. Mountain Time is the new time slot.
I'll see if
Which-
we can throw the Christian panel over to you guys after.
Oh, that would be cool, yeah.
Since it's Monty Python and the Holy Grail, I
you
don't
think-
know that normally that two crowds will mix all that
What
great.
is all right? 6:30 Mountain Time. What is that in civilized people time on the East Coast?
7:30 Central, 8:30 Eastern.
East.
Okay.
And for
Okay.
the last remaining outposts of anybody with sense in the Pacific, it's 5:30. If there's
Gotcha.
anybody left there. So
All right. Imp,
That's-
are you going to be joining that show at 70s? Do you have other stuff going on? What do you got?
If I get out of work on time, hopefully. Wednesday night's my late night at work.
Well, all right. Well, that's hopefully fingers crossed for him to be able to join. Mad, how's your secret project
Launching
new
next
channel?
week.
I like that that's a
Nice.
running gag now.
What gag?
Oh man,
I fully
it's not a
believe him
gag.
that
What are
we
you
will
talking
see
about?
it next week.
Next week.
Next week.
Last week it was next week, and this week it's next week. So when is this week's next week?
2 minutes,
will
Turkish.
arrive exactly
That was
when it's
5
supposed
minutes,
to.
2 minutes ago.
Quick, Tommy, before the Germans get you.
Oh, Mad missed his calling playing a pikey. It would have been great.
Det was ju bara hejsat. Bara fucking with a caravan with no fucking wheels.
All right, fucking bitch.
Terribly partial to Perry Blue. All right,
Just do a
everybody.
whole show like that.
It's just
whole show.
I want Mad to commit to being a pikey an entire show. Mad and
Mad-
Slender just talk that way.
That would be good.
Mad has to dress up like a pikey, like he did. When he goes in costume, he goes into full character, like he did on comic.
Yeah, I'm the only one that does this, I guess.
I was a cactus sheriff.
A cactus sheriff. You had no sheriff accent.
No sheriff. What's a sheriff accent?
Did I need to go Irish or something?
No,
I mean, 'cause
sheriff.
that's usually the chief of police.
The sheriff. Well, that's not a sheriff. A sheriff's accent's like this. See what I did there?
Maybe the sheriff you worked under.
Were you wearing a seersucker suit while you were working on that accent?
Some sucker suit, anyway.
All right. Well, at some point next week, allegedly, Mad's channel will be launching, and I will be sure to share and
Which one?
tweet when that actually happens.
Which channel? Which new channel?
I don't know. I may change the name. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, okay. I was going to promote it.
Right now, it's like
it'll be Trump is back with Mad.
Right now, Mad's
And
channel
he's
is like
mad.
the Prince thing where it was a symbol. His channel doesn't have a name; it's just got a symbol.
It's a big M.
And that symbol is him in that Tigger outfit.
You know what? I want him to use that other icon, avatar he has, the one that artist made up for him. That's amazing.
Fuck off. Don't bring that up.
should...
I can't talk about it until
And
he
on
dies.
that,